Hello.
Hello.
Goodbye.
Hound's like, I'm out. I'm already done.
We know it's our last game. We know it's our last game because we're all going to die.
You say that every game.
Yeah, but
just yet.
This time
It's called
we mean
being
it.
prepared.
Oh no. Oh no. Discord is fucked up on OBS.
I thought it was a dugong.
To do good?
What?
I thought the haha cat was a dugong. Like the Pokemon with the little horn.
Oh, it's
Like a
Bongo
seal?
Cat.
Oh yeah, that would have been nice.
How is that that's not.
Listen, if you're expecting me to make sense, I don't know why.
No, that's not it. I don't understand why the chat is like set on OBS to pick up like Discord, and
Oh yeah,
it's decided to only pick up like Google Chrome, even though it's set to Discord. Why are you doing this to me? Why? Let's try setting it to Google Chrome, see what happens.
Because we're all trees.
Yes, we are all trees.
Yep.
Trees are us.
Yeah, no, but DNC will hit us if we're all trees.
That's true.
Shut up. Not long, but
to be fair, she's not driving here, so.
Does she have to be driving in order to hit a tree? Because I've hit a tree and I was not driving.
I don't think she does. Honestly.
Did you walk into a tree?
okay,
Maybe.
yes, I do have to be driving because apparently people keep counting other games, and it's only been when I've been driving. Thank you very much.
So, DNC hits trees. Mungus parks like a crazy person. Got it. Okay.
I don't know what to do with this statistical information. So we're gonna move on. Welcome guys to the next episode of Shady Hollow, or everybody who's in chat. Hi Adonis. Hope you guys are excited, because I certainly am not terrified of what's gonna happen at all. So yeah. Before we get started, is there anything anyone wants to address? Maybe did anybody get level ups? No, they didn't. My brain's gone. Never mind. You only level up when we finish a mystery. Fuck.
Yeah. We each leveled up twice more, right? That's it. That's
14 times for me. Yeah.
I'm not kidding when I say that my brain is still stuck on the Halloween one shot, and I'm like, yeah, we'll do level up. No, that's not how this works. End of session stuff.
I mean, we could.
We don't do end of session because we're special. No. All right. Who wants to do the recap? That was what I meant to ask. Who wants to go over?
I think I can jump through it.
Yeah, let's go.
So, in order to stop Brian and his whole thing that he's going to be doing to end the world, Agent Willow at the BPI decided, hey, we're short on agents, and we needed to contact a specific agent by the name of Adam. However, he's disappeared. They don't know where he is. And the last people that he was meeting with was an ally of the BPI, the Fae, particularly the Summer Court, which I believe had another name that I do not have written down. Sealy Court, that's it. So we were sent to meet with the Fae, essentially. We came across Robin Goodfellow, or Puck, who had been injured. He was healed by Jack, and then he took us to see the Queen of the Sealy Court. They were rather nice and pointed us to, where we need to go. They agreed to fix the black unicorn horn that we have, and in return, we just have to save Agent Adam and the other members of their house who have been kidnapped by the Winter Court. We made our way through the woods, met a talking bear who we didn't realize could really talk, and now we're standing at the edge of a frozen lake in front of a big mountain with a castle on it.
And
Yeah.
we also have a side quest to get an apple.
We do. We need to get an apple.
You do need to
Specific
get an apple.
Jack has dibs.
Everything
Go for it.
broke.
You
So
got
yeah,
everything.
everything broke in my stuff, and I didn't bother to fix it. So good job, me. So yeah, so that about sums it up. So the 5 of you, let me put it on some music first, are currently standing. Wow, that music is loud. I'm a good streamer, guys, I swear.
It's been a while. We've had a couple of weeks, and I mean, you've had schooling and stuff and finals, so that's been fun.
I'm not even done with finals yet, but
Ugh.
that's why my brain is mush. Okay, so the 5 of you are currently standing at the edge of this frozen, slushy, dark lake, and in the distance you see the like island with a hill on the center and an ice castle at the top. You're currently standing by like what looks like a boathouse, kind of a little like dilapidated wharf with 2 rowboats. What do you guys do?
I wouldn't mind actually taking a look inside the boathouse. Like if there's a window or something, just kind of peeking in.
Okay.
I don't know if there's anybody in there that might be angry if we take these boats.
That's a good question. I don't think you need to roll for that. It's pretty kind of easy to see inside. It's not like a house. Like boathouse is like it's kind of like half of a shed. Like it's open towards the lake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can see that there's nobody in here. There's like some rope and some tools that look like maybe used to mend or repair the rowboats. A couple of other things, but yeah, it doesn't look like there's anybody here.
All right.
Violet's gonna go over to each of the rowboats and just check to see if they're like seaworthy.
Okay. Go ahead and roll. Just roll. Investigate a mystery, I think, for this.
13.
Okay. You get to pick some questions from that list, specifically about these boats.
1 second here, let me grab the list. So I get 2 questions, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
All right. Well, I guess Violet's just gonna be checking over the rowboats to make sure, like, they'll hold up if they take them out. So what is being concealed here? Using that to, I guess, look for holes, rotten wood, stuff like that.
Okay. I think with that roll, you notice that one of these boats, it's not that there's a hole in it or anything. It's just that it looks a little bit rickety. And like that if it, maybe it's a little bit bashed up isn't really the right word for it, but it's something like that. It looks like it's taken a little bit of a beating. And the other one looks like it's a little bit more new than this one. It looks like it's probably been at least constructed probably more recently than the last one. But it also seems to have some scratches, but not nearly so much as the other one.
Okay, but like, both rowboats look like they could still be used, right?
Yes, they still look serviceable.
Okay. I guess Violet will point that out to whoever is by the dock.
Yeah, who is by the dock? That's a good question.
Nigel's saying that he's probably checking out the boathouse to see if there's anything inside they might want to use. Probably make sure to grab some rope just so they can tie off the boats once they get to the other side.
Mhm.
Jack's probably near the docks and looking out in the water to see if there's anything they should be worried about.
I was
Okay.
just standing near them, but like watching around, make sure none sneaks up on them.
Jack, go ahead and roll read a bad situation. Since you're out looking across the water looking for anything to be on the lookout for.
Well, that's good.
Okay.
I got a 13.
Okay. That gives you a whole 3 on read bad situation, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what are your questions from that?
What are there any dangers we haven't noticed?
Okay. I'll say that with that roll, you notice looking out over the water, just it wouldn't be that noticeable if you weren't paying close attention, but you see the barest ripple in the water that doesn't look quite like the way the water would be moving naturally. And just for a moment, you see like a dark, like rounded shape kind of very briefly break the surface and then go back down.
Well, I just had a really bad idea. You know in the Simpsons movie where Homer sticks the the bug zapper in the water?
Oh no.
Jack's gonna do that with his hammer.
Okay.
Just, try to get a current in the water to scare off whatever that was.
Okay, so what I want you to do for this is it's not quite kick some ass. So I mean, okay, yeah, roll kick some ass, but this is a giant lake. You're attacking a lake. So it's not with the idea of like harming something. Let's just see if you can get this off.
This is Jack casting magic missile at the darkness. This is what's going on.
Yeah, essentially.
I use Thunderhammer on the lake.
Yeah, basically.
10.
Okay. So what's the harm level for your Thunderhammer again? Like what harm does it do?
3 harm and stun.
Okay.
Also holy.
Okay. So I'm going to say that with that roll, what happens is that there's a limit to how far this electricity can go. Like you're not going to like electrify the whole lake with one Thunderhammer, no matter how awesome it is. But I will say that it does instead of 3 harm for every, success you got, it went 10 feet. So it goes 30 feet, right? This kind of radius electricity before it completely dissipates and is not harmful enough to really notice more than like an electric shock. So you can kind of see like the radius of this electricity lighting the water up. And what happens instead of like, you don't see any like sudden fried fish floating to the top. There's no, sudden breakout of a monster or anything. But what you do see is that because it's lit the lake up, in this kind of like brief flash of light that travels through the water quite a distance, for a moment towards that icy island, outside of the range of your hammer, but still within visual sight, near where you had seen that original like hump break the water, you see a very large, dark kind of serpentine shadow under the water.
Well, that's not good. And hey, I still have 2 holes.
You do.
Next would be what's the best way to protect the victims from whatever that is. Victims being us.
Yeah. Okay, so I will say you see this like kind of giant serpentine creature under this water, and it doesn't seem to like pay attention to the electricity or to the light or anything. But as you're watching, you see as this kind of essentially like a water bird. You don't recognize what kind of bird it is, but it's this like kind of dark grayish, almost crane-like, but not quite. It's very, you can tell that this is something that probably local to the Fey realm. Kind of jump into the air from the island and fly a bit and start circling, and then lands on the water near where that serpentine figure has kind of moved through. And all of a sudden you see just this giant gaping maw come up and basically pelican swallow this thing in one gulp, and then immediately go back down in almost utter silence. And you get the sense that this thing can sense when something is on the water.
Yeah, Jack's gonna not completely loudly, but he will say out loud, "Oh shit."
Upon hearing Jack say, "Oh shit," Raven's gonna jump up, look over. Oh my god, what happened? What did you do? Who what's coming? Huh? What is it, the fairies? What?
It's like a giant snake thing in the water. And
Raven
Okay.
just kind of stares at him, eyes wide. And it's our friend, right?
No.
Oh god. Elle?
Yeah.
Help.
Okay, one more hold. What's the best way in?
All right. As Raven's kind of having this moment of panic, look around, and because you're magically attuned and kind of have a general sense that something isn't quite right, and that, there's boats, obviously. You see 2 boats, and you see, from having gone up in Fafnir's vision and seen that there are people who traverse this lake somehow. You start to like look around, and you kind of look at the boats, and you notice along the bottom there seems to be a very thin silver kind of gilding with some kind of inscription on it. And you think that the likelihood is whatever that is, it allows these boats to move on the water without drawing the notice of this creature.
Alright, I'm just gonna try to push one of them into the water, but like halfway, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Okay. And you do, and you kind of start to push it in the water, and when this silver bottom kind of touches the water, you see as these kind of magical inscriptions seem to very lightly kind of light up. Not the whole thing, just where they seem to touch the water.
Alright. So, everyone get in the boats and don't touch the water or you'll probably die.
You want us to get in those boats while that thing's there?
You'll be fine.
It's a
Raven
magic
just
thing.
looks
You know
over at Elle like, are you crazy?
If the boats are there, that means people have been using them, which means they can go across.
And it doesn't look like we have many other options right now.
I mean, also you can walk around, but I don't think we can get to the other side and just, find a pathway over there.
Yeah, this would probably be the fastest way.
be the only way.
Also, Nigel, don't let your gargoyle thing near the water.
I'm just gonna like flick around for a moment and like pick up Gary, who's probably already on his way over to the water to see what's going on. Just like pick him up by like the leg and like, no, in the hood.
Yes.
Raven will wait for everyone else to get in the boats, and then we'll get in the one with Elle.
All right. So there are 2 boats. One, as Violet noticed, is slightly more banged up than the other. So they seem to have about the capacity for probably 4 people in each one. You could, split it up 2 and 3 if you'd like, or 4 and 1. What are you guys doing?
Nigel will probably get in the one that's more banged up.
Yeah, Violet will go for that one as well. She feels fairly confident in her swimming, and she could always make a little iceberg on top of the water if she needed to.
Jack's gonna go with the other boat.
Yeah, L2.
Raven steps into the more prepared boat with Elle, but in a very... I've never been in a boat, and boats are terrifying, despite the fact that this isn't true. Just everything about her being here, she's horrified that she's here, hates it, and is just terrified that the boat's going to eat her or something.
I mean, hey, we all know it's not true because we were on a yacht or whatever it was.
Yeah.
You were born on an island.
Just say.
Good enough.
All right. Okay, so Violet and Nigel in the banged up boat, and Elle, Jack, and Raven in the one that looks a little newer.
Yep, Jack's rowing.
I see that Resident Evil 4 gif.
I had to share it. That's all I can think. Don't shoot the water.
So, okay, so the 4 of you are in the boat, and as you kind of push these boats into the water from away from the boathouse, it's a little difficult because the closer you are to the shore, the more of this like icy slush there is. But and so it kind of takes pushing a little bit with these oars, and as you dip these oars into the water, you see that like the boat itself, they seem to have some kind of silver gilding to their like their paddles and to like half their handles and some kind of inscription. So they seem to be able to go in this water without, drawing the attention of this creature. And you kind of push yourself away from the edge of the lake, and in more towards the center. And it's probably a decent row from where you are. I really feel like I have to sneeze and it's not happening, and this is really distracting me. So I'm who's taking the lead on this? Because there's only like one set of oar for each boat.
I think.
I imagine L is probably doing the rowing on one.
I know with the banged up boat, Nigel's probably gonna row since he's used to being out in the lake occasionally, and Gary's gonna kind of sit in the little bow of the boat and just take a look around and see if he can spot anything, just to try and keep an eye on making sure they're safe and whatever's directly in front of the boat.
Yeah, Raven will also be keeping an eye out, but a very panicked one at that.
Okay. So Jack, you're rowing, and Nigel, you're rowing.
Yes.
I need both of you to roll and act under pressure. This is very icy, thick water. It's kind of really tough to get any kind of momentum going before you get stuck. And it's very cold. And so you're finding that it's like, a bit more difficult than you thought it would be to like row this boat. So go ahead and both of you give me act under pressures.
These
Can I
guys
use,
are really treating me well. I
That's
got a
not
10.
new.
Can I use a read about this sort of thing, considering Nigel lives on a campground with a lake?
Yeah.
And...
I mean, you do. That's part of your act under pressure. So yeah.
Okay, cool.
don't think you've read it. You've
Oh my.
been trained in
That's
it.
So with my +3 from sharp, that's a 6. These
All
dice
right.
are not.
Dang, I
doing
should have
anything.
given RNG.
So, okay. Nigel's got a 6 and Jack got a 10, right?
This
Yep.
is what
So-
you guys get when you stick me in a boat alone with Violet.
So,
All nervous.
Jack, you surprisingly take like this, like a duck to water. You don't seem, you're quite strong. You've got a lot of training under your belt.
Sure?
Yeah, you shush. You're quite strong for being, a professional. You do a lot of monster hunting and firing weapons and just general
Oh, right.
endurance stuff to
I
not
had that lake monster thing.
yeah, to
that
not
one-
die. And so you've gotten used to like unusual situations like this one. So you seem to get the hang of it very quickly, and you pull out farther from Nigel and Violet's boat with every second, just kind of like not even realizing because your back is to them as you're like pumping to kind of get this row going. And you're already halfway across the lake before you even realize that they're kind of struggling. Nigel, you, despite the fact that you work at a camp, it's very different because the
It's
camp.
a summer camp.
Yeah, it's a summer camp, and Shady Hollow never freezes. Like, snow is not a big feature of your life. Certainly not icy lakes. The best it gets is maybe down into the 60s in the water, and then, like, you can still go swimming if you really have some endurance and are willing to risk hypothermia. But other than that, it's still liquid. This is slush. This is like trying to row through a Slurpee. And the oars are surprisingly like thick handled, and you're having a difficulty kind of getting a grip on them. You're not quite used to it because you haven't been wearing your gloves lately since you've been warmer, so like touching things with your bare hand when they're cold, and you kind of like recoil from it because just for a moment it reminds you of that inner cold that you have been living in terror of returning to for a couple of months now since you were able to return back to your human warmth. And so in that recoil, you let go of these oars, and one of them slips down and out and falls into the water with a thump. And the part of it that's not gilded lands in the water and splashes, and you, without even like really thinking about it, immediately turn back towards where that shadow was, and you start to see as these large dark humps kind of like come, not quite breaching the water like a whale, but just you can see it coming towards your boat. And you now have no oar, and you're probably a good 15 feet from the shore now, so there's no real way to return. What do you guys do?
Is the oar still like close by?
It's in the water. You can see that it, because there's ice, you could definitely probably attempt to reach for it.
Is this
before it
boat one
starts to
where I'd be using 2 oars, or is it more like a canoe where I'd be using just 1?
It's a rowboat.
It's a rowboat, yeah.
Okay, so it has 2. Okay.
Seeing that the oar has slipped, Violet's gonna quickly go for the oar that's in the water.
Okay. Go ahead and roll act under pressure, because you're fighting against a very short time limit window here. This thing can swim very fast.
That's an 11.
Good. Awesome. Okay, so Violet, you see as these like humped shapes are coming towards you, and you realize that you're screwed while this kind of thing is in the water still. So you very quickly kind of dash your hand down into this like icy water and manage to just grab the top of the oar handle before it slips too far into the water for you to really get to it safely. and haul it out single-handedly with this like giant like arc of icy water splashing up and smacking Nigel right in the face. But you manage to get out of the water, and as you do, you see as those humped shapes start to slow down and start to like move a little bit away and a little bit more in like this kind of like searching pattern. Like they're not quite sure where whatever it was has gone. They can't seem to sense it anymore. It's much closer than it was before now, though. Like we're talking probably a good 40, 50 feet from you, as opposed to being closer to the island. And this thing seems to be like just kind of circling and searching.
I'm going to put my gloves back on and take the oars and just try it again.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to get moving.
Yeah, go ahead and roll act under pressure.
I'm still just rowing.
Yeah, you're doing pretty good. We'll get back to you in a second.
Okay, that's more like it. 8, 9, 10, 11.
Okay. Yeah, so now that you've got your gloves on and you're not quite touching cold things and it's not really hitting that like little spot of panic, you get a firm grip on these and you start to row very quickly, as fast as you can, away from where this like creature seems to have last kind of caught your scent. And you catch up with Jack as he's rowing and actually start to like get alongside the other boat. You guys are about halfway across this water at this point. I need both of you to roll act under pressure again, because this is the second half of the stretch. Like you're at this point, you're in the open water and there's less ice, but now you're starting to get some kind of like strange lake tidal forces. That's a thing, right? Lakes have tides?
10?
Yes.
Not really, but kind of.
Shush. This is Minnesota.
I
Minnesota
mean, it's
style
the
lake.
fairy world. Let's go with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
If
9.
it's spring-fed, it could have currents in it.
You got a 9 and Nigel got a 10. Okay. Okay, so Nigel, you're like pumped up on this adrenaline. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, and you're just like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. So you not only catch up to Jack, but you surpass him. You're now that rowing.
I got my stride.
Yeah, now that rowing experience that you have from camp is starting to kind of get back into it, and you have a pretty good form. Jack, you're doing pretty well, but you're starting to struggle a little bit because you had kind of blown a little bit trying to get a little bit of energy trying to get away from the shore out of that like icy slurpy area. And so you're slowing down. Yeah, I'm gonna say that that's what happens. There's other things, but you don't know. So you're slowing down, and but you're still kind of going at a pretty decent pace. Yeah. Okay. So eventually, pretty quickly, now that you're both kind of fueled by this get away from the monster panic, you end up on the kind of snowy shore of this island. Above you, not super high, but certainly not super close, is the icy castle. And where you currently are standing, there's no visible buildings aside from the castle itself. What do you guys do?
Okay, so we pulled up to the shore and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any spot where we could either stash the boats or tie them up so they don't float off on us? Or should I do like a check for that?
Yeah, go ahead and roll investigate a mystery to see if you can see somewhere for these to go.
Can I help out with that?
Sure. You're both kind of in the same area, so I'll say yeah, you can.
Well,
That's
I got
an
8.
11.
All right, so that bumps me up to 11.
Okay.
Wait, what?
Your roll helped him get to an 11. So
I had a
Yeah.
10, but
yeah.
Oh.
Okay. So, yeah, so you look around and you can see that there doesn't seem to be any like dedicated boathouse on this side like there was over on the edge of the shore. But you do see an area that, after kind of looking very closely, there seems to be two kind of wooden, like, I want to say, like, you ever, it's like a spike but with like a round top where you can tie boats off to. I don't know what it's called.
Like just some kind of post or something.
Yeah, like,
it's
but
a mooring post.
Yeah, a mooring. Thank you. But it's like stuck into like the snow, and for a minute you couldn't really see it until you started looking closely, and now you can see, if you brush the snow off, that there's these wooden moorings that you can tie the boats to, essentially.
All right, I'll definitely tie up the boats as they get in and just make sure they're secure.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna need a plan before we go in there.
You don't say.
Well, we can't walk in through the front doors. Or we could. They might be hospitable to outsiders they don't know and just hate summer court.
I mean, Loki's kind of got a thing with frosty. Well, yeah, frosty people.
I love that you're referring to the Jotun as frosty people.
Yeah, frosty people.
All I'm thinking is giant snowmen now, and that puts such a weird mental image. Well, I don't think it'd be really worth taking the risk. If we can find an alternate way in and just sneak through, that's probably our best bet. It's a little hard to say, though, because if they find us sneaking in, they're definitely going to be hostile to us. If we try and talk to them, it's a coin flip.
I mean, we don't have too much we can offer them to trade with. I doubt they'd let these people go if we ask nicely. I say we try to infiltrate and find them first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Besides, we don't have time to be running all over this world doing whatever tasks they set us to in order to free these people.
Yeah.
Speaking
If,
of tasks, I'll
hmm?
probably go look for the apple while you look for the people.
Let's work our way up. If they have a courtyard, it's probably mid-level in the central area somewhere on the walls. If they've got someone captured, they're probably lower down in some kind of dungeon. My only worry is if there is somebody locked up in a higher tower. If we have to get up, that's going to be way more dangerous than staying to the lower levels. If we can find some kind of drainage runoff or something where we can get in through like a sewer system, that'd be our easiest way in.
Well, it's a castle, right? Would it be similar to the castles that they have in England that would have like secret passageways and things like that?
Well, secret. I'm not sure how we're going to find it.
Magic?
I'm just going to like stop and do like a slow turn to look at Violet. Can you do your stompy, echoey ground thing?
Get tough,
I
Violet.
mean, I mean, if I can get close enough, yeah. I don't know if I'll be able to pick anything up though.
Well, we could try and get up to the outer wall. Maybe try and stay out of sight if there is anyone up there, and... Well, if we can get you close at least, then you can kind of scan for it and stay nearby if there's any trouble.
Well, there is this mooring post here, and Violet will gesture to where they've tied the ropes off. Is there a pathway around here or something? I mean, there must be, or they wouldn't have a random mooring post down here. I guess, could Violet roll for, or I guess just sharp to look around and see if she can find anything?
Yeah. Go ahead and roll investigate history. Yeah.
Well, true to Violet's nature, she does not see anything, because that's a 5.
Oh no. Okay. You look around and you don't see anything. This is snow covered, and you look up. I'll give you this. You look up at the clouds, and having family in colder climates means you understand snow a little bit more, and you can tell that these clouds really indicate that it has snowed recently. And that this is a fresh layer, and there's just no way to tell almost anything from anything else because it's all buried under a very thick coat of brand new undisturbed snow.
Okay.
All right, so we're not seeing a trail. I mean, maybe there's some way we can at least follow the shoreline. Maybe there's some other way in that we can't see from this side of the island.
I don't think we have much of a choice.
Wait, where are we again?
You are currently essentially on the back side of this island. You get the sense that this castle there's a big front entrance that you saw with Fafnir, that there's like a wharf and these beautiful ornate boats and like lights, and there looked like there was like a small maybe village or like some kind of supporting area for the castle that had like houses that were lit and like a road going out of it. That was all on the other side. You're on this back side that seems to be facing nothing but dark wood. And there was, that boathouse looked very kind of old and dilapidated. So you're not sure if that was like something that has been there longer and things have changed since, or if it's just not used very often.
So we're more on the mountainside.
Yeah, the picture's not 100% accurate, but it's you are on the side not facing the front of the castle, so not the one that's actually pictured. You're on the other side.
Yeah. Jack's gonna walk up to whatever's in front of them, I guess, and start maybe searching around. Like if there's a wall or something nearby, start knocking on it and looking for like a secret entrance.
Could
let me describe what's in front of you first, and then we can go from there. So what you're seeing without having to roll is essentially just a large upward sloping area of snow that's broken up by dark, evergreens, pines that are laden with this snow, and bare trees that look like they've been long dead and haven't seen the sun in ages, and occasionally like small bushes with bright red berries. But for the most part, it's pretty clear looking until you get about halfway up before it starts to be like juts of stone that are coming out up towards, and then moving up a little bit further, like this back side of the castle. That's like just this kind of translucent ice that you can't really, from where you are, can't really see any entrances or windows. You just see like this ice wall. Yeah, so what do you want to do with that information?
We'll walk up as far as Jack can and start looking for secret entrances.
Okay, Nigel, what were you gonna do?
I was actually gonna see if Gary could try and help Jack out. He sees him looking for something, and he'll hop off Nigel's shoulder and kind of follow Jack and start trying to not necessarily copy what he's doing, but try and look for whatever Jack might be looking for.
Okay. Go ahead and have Gary roll help out, and
All right.
Jack, go ahead and roll investigate mystery. So you guys have to walk up a good distance for this, though. Just FYI, like it's probably a good 5-10 minute walk before you get up to like the base of this castle wall. So by the time you get up there,
Yeah.
you're a good distance from these boats.
All right, and Gary does have his there's no iron team ability, so he gets an extra +1 on rolls to help out.
Okay.
All right.
What'd you get?
So Gary's getting a 10.
Well, I got a 9, so I guess I re-rolled the higher, no, the lower one.
Yeah.
Or
Oh, well, that went from 9 to boxcars.
Nice.
Gary did a good
14.
job.
So yeah, good job. So Jack and surprisingly Gary, Fafnir kind of like shivers a little bit, and then like Gary kind of climbs up on Jack's shoulder, realizing that like Jack's off to do something interesting, and Fafnir kind of like looks at him like, fine, you can have the shoulder, and he kind of like flies back towards Nigel and like buries himself in Nigel's hoodie because it's warmer than Jack's coat. And so you've got Gary kind of perched on your shoulder looking around, just like kind of inspecting everything that you're inspecting, Jack. And so you kind of like start walking along this, what looks like, even up close, this impenetrable ice wall, essentially. And like it's got this translucency to it almost, but you can't really see inside. There's just this like thick opaqueness to it. And you're going over it, and for your hands kind of like being dragged along this ice because you're trying to see if maybe there's like a secret button or something. And as you're doing that, Gary kind of like hops off your shoulder and kind of like starts clinging to the ice and climbs up a little bit. And you see him disappear into what looks like a solid wall. And you look up and see that, oh, this ice is carved in such a way that because of the way it's translucent and the way that the light kind of hits it and shines through it instead of bouncing off, it's really hard to tell the depths of things. And Gary seems to have found like a little shelf that's built in, and you start to realize that if there's a shelf, then maybe there's other things as well. And you kind of like start looking closer and push your hands in more and try and kind of like find something. And eventually you find what feels like a door jamb. The door is closed, but you can see that this is in fact the outline of a door that if you hadn't been paying closer attention because of Gary's like hint by finding that little kind of dip in the ice, you would have completely skipped over it.
All right, are we within Raven's telepathy range?
That's a good question. Did you guys follow them up the hill, or are you guys still down by the shore?
I think we would have followed
Yeah,
to at least
followed.
stay somewhat nearby.
And while doing that, Elle gonna roll for Wolfhawk for the ears. Try to listen for anything that might be coming. Try not to
Okay.
get caught. That kind of.
Sure, roll that.
And with no -1, finally, that's an 11.
Nice. Yeah, you with or without the visual input.
Without.
Okay. Yeah, you can suddenly hear things very clearly. So you've got that extra bonus to what is it? It's investigate, right? When you try and listen. So yeah, I would say you guys are within telepathy range.
If they're in telepathy range, Jack will just send a telepathic message to Raven, telling her that he found something.
Okay. Yeah, you send this message to Raven, who's about 10 feet to your left, looking at a bush.
Yeah.
Raven definitely jumps and is like, "Oh God, sorry. What did you say, Jack?"
I found something. I'm gonna, I guess, try to open it.
Okay. I will say with that success from earlier, because it was so high, that you realize that this thing probably has a secret button somewhere, because you can feel that it doesn't have a handle, doesn't have some kind of way in that you can see, but it certainly has some kind of movement to it when you try and like put your fingers into the crevice. Like there's something that indicates just the way that it feels that it's supposed to open. You just don't know how. So you can either look around for a way to kind of open it by the mechanism it seems to be. You can try to use magic. You can try to break it down. Any of those choices.
Yeah,
It's up to you guys.
I'll look for a mechanism.
Okay.
Gary's gonna just scratch at the door like a cat wanting in.
Go ahead and roll investigate again. This is all you guys have to roll this whole time. I'm not doing anything else. Just investigate.
Well, with my +2, that's an 11.
All right. I will say that you realizing that there's like some kind of secret button, start to again drag your fingers along this wall, and just about 5 feet away from it, there seems to be at like chest height some kind of like small indentation that has some kind of give to it. And as you're like putting your fingers on it, you realize that this is some kind of button, and you just push it and you hear some kind of pop, and the door that Gary is scratching at now swings open, pushing Gary through the snow as it does so.
He'll just kind of hang on to the door, then a moment later, just come trudging out of the pile of snow and shake himself off. Like, that was fun.
Like backwards or forwards?
Out, like outwards.
Alright.
So it like pushed him out into a pile of snow, and then he just like digs his way out. Like, haha, I did it.
Alright, I'll take first point. I guess follow me.
Okay.
Yeah, Gary will climb up Jack's like coat and just sit on his shoulder and be like, yeah, did it good.
All right. So you, the picture's not quite accurate, but I was hard pressed to find one that actually matched what I was imagining. So you find this like door as it swings out, and what you see is not the dark tunnel you had thought it would be. Instead, you see what looks like almost the like hall side of a courtyard. Only this seems to be like kind of like I'm really failing with descriptions today. If this wall was enclosing an outdoor space, and that you just happen to have found a door that leads out of it. From where you are, you can't see too well into this outdoor space, but you can see that there's kind of like these arches along the side. And it's like, it's rather dark looking. But it isn't like enclosed darkness, essentially.
Yeah, I think I get what you mean.
Yeah. I want to say it looks like the courtyard in Dragon Age Inquisition, only if it was dark and filled with snow. But, like, only a couple of you will know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I totally don't.
Yeah. I mean, it could also be the College of Winterhold. Wait, no. completely different layout. All right.
Well, I guess we should stick together for a little while. I guess look for a way down, maybe? If they are in some sort of dungeon.
I mean, we're in the courtyard right now.
Hey, is
All
there
right,
a?
the people.
Do we see like anyone in here or like any certain trees?
Have you gone inside, all of you?
I'll be following Jack. If
Yeah.
Raven passed on that we're supposed to go in, then yeah.
Yeah, so if you've all gone in, as you like head through the door, you hear as the door behind you slowly swings closed and shuts behind you, and so that little bit of light that was coming in kind of dissipates. But you do see, as your eyes adjust to the dark, that what you're in isn't like a courtyard in terms of like, oh, this is where people go to like, you know, spend time. It's not like a garden. This is kind of like a working courtyard. You can see in this kind of dim shade, since there's no current lights, a couple of like what look like carts essentially with like tarps thrown over them that are covered by snow. You see kind of this muddiness. You see a couple of doors in the distance. There is no light currently lit anywhere. The only light that's really coming is from when you look up, a very, very far away sky, and above you, rising in this kind of like small square, essentially, is the walls of these castle continuing upwards for quite a distance. And there seems to be every now and then windows with lights in them dotted that are the only real source of artificial light that doesn't even make it all the way down here. So that's what you see when you first enter.
Jack's gonna. He's like crouching and stealthing, I guess, in a video game. Gonna go up to one of the carts and try to lift up the tarp a little to look in it.
Okay. I will say that you don't have to roll anything for that. It's a tarp. You lift it up and you see the most immediate thing you see is what looks like hay, and maybe a couple of barrels that you can't really see inside of because this cart is about like, you're tall, so it's probably more like navel height, belly button height. Anybody shorter than you would be like chest height. So it's kind of hard to see into anything on the cart, but you can see just lifting this tarp, you see what looks like a couple of barrels and a lot of hay.
So there could be apples in these barrels.
There could be.
While we're in the courtyard, could I look around and see if there's any of those? What are they called? You know, like those like little like mouse hole style like barred windows that they'd have for like getting ventilation and stuff to lower levels of the castle. Would we be able to see anything like that down here?
Go ahead and roll investigate. There's a lot of snow around here. You're still gonna have to try and see what's, you know, possibly hidden at this ground level snow.
Nigel is not rolling well tonight because that's a 6.
Okay. You go and look around and you see a couple of dark holes that might be what you think you're looking for. And as you approach one, you just hear this low growl. And this one bright red eye lights up in this dark hole. And a slathering maw steps out. This thing is the size of probably a large dog. But it's like this dark shape inside, and you just hear it growling, and it finally kind of sets one paw forward and then another, and what you see looks very much like the Black Shook, only smaller, and teeth bared at you and drooling. and it is looking very angry, and it
Question?
lunges towards you. Yes.
Before that happens, is there a machete stuck in it?
No.
There's like a really tiny machete
Aw.
stuck in it.
No. It looks like the Black Shook. It's not the one that you fought.
Okay.
And it is also smaller.
Yes, it's
Right,
like
yeah, that's what you
more
said.
more dog-sized.
We should give it belly rubs.
Nigel, I need you to act under pressure as this thing lunges for your throat.
I'm going to swap my dice out again because apparently nobody wants to roll properly tonight. All right, how about you two? Hang on, that's not Nigel's sheet. That's Gary's sheet. There we go. All right, that's more like it. That's a 9.
Okay. So I'm gonna say you managed to roll out of the way of this thing as it lunges towards you, and you just have this momentary instinctual reflex. And it sails past you and kind of body slams into a cart behind you, falls to its feet, and then immediately gets up and shakes itself. You don't take any harm, but this thing is angry, and it starts to bark loudly. Woof, 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 woof. And it is just resounding sound in this small courtyard. And you see as a light comes on in a window near one of the ground floor doors, and you just hear the sound of like, "Oi, what you barking at out there?" And you see as one of these doors starts to open.
Jack is quickly hiding.
Yeah, Nigel would like to hide, and Gary would like to use Eek.
Okay, what's Eek do? Read this to us.
Eek. When a monster, or anyone really, appears on the scene and you have to find a hiding spot, roll sharp. On a 10+, you hide in the best nearby spot before the monster sees you.
Mhm.
On a 7 to 9, I get to pick between one of 3 choices. Being I hide okay, but the monster is now between me and escape.
Mhm.
I hide okay for now, but your hiding spot is bound to be spotted soon. Or you hide okay, but leave something important out in the open.
Okay.
Which
Are-
Gary doesn't really have anything, so...
Well, that you know of. Okay. I need you all to essentially, if you're hiding or whatever you're doing, you need to tell me. So Jack is hiding, Nigel's hiding,
Yeah.
Gary is hiding, Violet, Raven, and Elle, what are you doing?
Violet is definitely going to try to hide behind
Yeah,
something
I
as
was
well.
gonna hide. Or at least
I know
attempt-
exactly where Jack is hiding.
Okay. What about you, Raven?
Raven is probably frozen there for a bit, but then follows Elle. Probably gets grabbed by Elle and pulled into the same hiding place.
Okay. So all of you need to roll act under pressure with disadvantage because this dog sees you and it's watching you as you dive
Can I
for a
give
hole.
RNG to someone?
You can. You got to roll that first.
what is our disadvantage? Just -1?
It's a -1, yes.
Okay. And does Gary still get to roll sharp since he's rolling an ability?
Yes, but
Okay.
he still has to do -1.
All right.
Who has the lowest cool again?
Oh, God, probably Nigel or...
I'm using my sharp since it's act under
Raven
pressure.
has
so.
0.
Alright, yeah, I'll give RNG to Raven.
Okay, go ahead. What's your RNG?
It adds +1 to
No, I know what it does.
Oh,
What-
right,
what did
you know.
roll? Yeah.
a 10.
Okay. All right, so you don't have to pick a glitch. So you kind of pat Raven on the back real quick as she's looking around panicked for a hiding spot before Elle pulls her in and kind of transfer this tiny little bit of Loki's luck towards her. All right, roll, all of you, roll act under pressure.
Violet got
So-
a 10.
Raven rolled a 6, so +1 is 7.
11.
Okay.
Gary
Oh,
got
11.
a 10. Nigel's got an 8.
Okay.
Like a 7.
And
Okay.
Rem, I'm going to need to hand Raven over to you while I take care of this thing that happened right before stream.
Okay. All right. Are you coming back, or you think it's permanent?
I'm probably going to have to be gone.
Okay. All right. I'll take
Sorry,
care of
y'all.
Raven then. right.
Thank you.
Bye, Scully.
Bye.
All right, so I'm piloting Raven. Oh no. If I get Raven killed, Scully
Time
might
to
kill me.
hide in the carts.
I have dice now. Okay, so Raven. Oh God, Scully's not here. What did Raven got a mixed success, so it's fine.
Raven got a 7.
Yeah, mixed success. Who else got a mixed success? It was
Nigel.
Nigel.
Mm-hmm.
And Gary got a success. 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gary's
Everybody-
really good at hiding.
Everybody else got success.
Yep, hiding in the cart and pulling that tarp over.
Okay, so no, Gary actually, like, for just a minute, like, just freaks out and, like, he opens his little gargoyle wings and flaps upwards and actually lands on top of a, like, essentially ledge, a rooftop ledge over, like, the walkway, and, like, clings to it and goes stone form and looks exactly like one of these, like, little carving figures around it. So he completely disappears from anyone's sight, aside from Nigel, who knows what he's looking for. The rest of you who got a success, you all dive into various hiding spots without issue.
Cart.
Yeah, Jack's on the cart. Violet, you've hidden yourself behind this little alcove that you found that has like an evergreen bush in it, and you kind of dive under and hide yourself behind this bush. Elle, you find kind of like little...
I just thought of something.
Yes, what?
Couldn't Violet have just ice walled
Too late now.
in front of the door?
Yeah, too late now. So she's hidden. Elle grabs Raven, and she found a pretty decent hiding spot behind, like, wedged behind a cart and the wall that seems to be pretty covered. But in grabbing Raven, dragging her backwards has left a trail in the snow that is not super obvious from where this figure seems to be emerging, but won't stand up to closer inspection. Nigel, you dive into the cart next on the far side, opposite of Jack's, that seems to also be there, and the dog follows you. It does not get into the cart with you. It just is barking woof, 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 and starts, like, pacing around the cart and sniffing at it. You are currently hidden, but this thing is like essentially around the perimeter and making noise.
Wait,
And this-
do I still have Fafnir with me?
Yeah, he's hidden in your coat. We'll count Fafnir as still, like, just part of your roll. We're not gonna make you roll.
I may have an emergency idea.
Okay, well, all right. So this figure comes out, and you just hear, "Oi! Oi, shut up, you! What's up?" And he kind of, like, you hear the sound of crunching footsteps in the snow, and the dog goes, "Oh, what's it? Oh, you found some kind of animal. Is that it, buddy? What's it? Is it a hare? Is it a hare? I gave you food like an hour ago. What do you need? What do you need? What is it, buddy?" And you just hear as this figure starts kind of walking around and looking around, and he's mostly around your cart, Nigel, because that seems to be where the dog is. Just, you hear him walking, and... Oi, hey, buddy, what's that? What's that? And you hear him walk towards the center of this courtyard.
Can I peek out of the cart a little and neuralize him?
Yeah, you can.
Well, that depends. Do elves count as monsters? I don't think it counts on monsters.
You don't know what he looks like yet. You just hear a voice.
Yeah,
But
assuming.
Yeah. Well, that was a 9.
Okay. He counts as a minion. Neuralize covers minions too, right? It says minions and monsters.
Yeah, you can make a single person or minion forget about the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, so it's a minion. So, yeah, okay. You peek out of the cart, and what's your glitch?
I'll go with well, since I'm helping Nigel a little bit, I'll also do the spell affects you or an ally negatively.
Okay.
Hopefully, Nigel.
God damn it. If I get caught, so does your dragon.
All right. You're on the opposite side of this thing. So there's Nigel's cart, the person in the middle with the dog, and then you, and you're like directly across from Nigel. And as you lift your head up, you can see the cart where Nigel's hiding, and this figure is looking at it, and he's got his back turned towards you. And he's like contemplating it and kind of like looking at it, tilting his head, and you can see that he thinks something is wrong. And as he's like starting to move back towards the cart and reaches a hand towards that tarp, you cast Neuralize, and you see it like hit him, and there's just this moment where he stops what he was doing, and he kind of like looks around confused, looks down at the dog, and kind of like, what was I doing again? Why am I out here? Oh crap, the bird! And he just hikes back in towards the door, and you hear it slam. Nigel, you have no idea where you are. You thought you were in a boat, and now you're under something and buried, and it's dark.
Nigel's immediately going to start hyperventilating because he's been in this situation once before and he had to dig his way out. So...
But Fafnir's with you.
Yeah, Nigel's still starting to panic because he also feels something moving around in his hoodie, and as far as he remembers, Gary was not in his hoodie the last time he saw him.
Yeah, what do? You're currently, as far as you know, buried in some kind of darkness. It smells like earth and hay, and it's cold, and you're cold.
Just
and
trying
you
to think
were
about
just on a
how
lake.
I think, if anything, he's starting to panic, just closing his eyes, trying to take a few deep breaths, and just stop himself from panicking, because he knows that's the worst thing that he can do, as he starts feeling around, trying to figure out where he is.
You feel something soft and kind of pokey. It kind of goes a little crunchy when you touch it. Underneath it seems to be something hard and almost hollow as you touch it.
Alright, well, I guess he's gonna see if he can possibly sit up and then try and do that, while hopefully not angering whatever thing he feels crawling around.
Yeah, you sit up, and it's weird because there's this resistance. It just feels, and as you're sitting up, you realize it feels like sitting up against a blanket when you pulled your blanket over your head. And you feel as like sharp little claws kind of like scurry their way down your shirt, and down from the bottom of your hoodie, you see Fafnir kind of wiggle his way out and go, it's really smelly in there. When was the last time you wore deodorant? And kind of like crawls out in a way.
What are you doing? Where the fuck are we?
You just see Fafnir kind of crawl out, and for a moment there's a light, and then his tail disappears and he's gone. Jack, see? Yeah. What are you gonna say?
Is the dog gone? Like, did the elf or whoever that was take the dog with?
The dog followed him back towards the door and is currently sitting in front of the door, kind of just whining.
Nigel's just very confused right now. Like, but we're on the lake, and now, okay, he'll just like, I guess, slowly start getting up out of this cart, looking around, like, how did I get here? We were on the lake. There was a thing in the water. I started rowing, and now I'm here. And he's just like, does he see anybody around him, or is he just like alone.
It is currently, at the moment, until anybody decides to poke their head out, an empty courtyard with a dog faced away from you towards the door. And Fafnir is sitting on the edge of this cart, just, like, looking disgruntled.
I'm just gonna.
Jack
Whoa.
probably would have peeked his head out again whenever he heard the person leave.
Yeah, hearing that the barking stopped and stuff, I was gonna get out very slowly.
All right, Nigel's gonna carefully get out of this cart, and flip the tarp back over it, and be like, "Okay, where? Okay, gotta find the others. Fafnir, where did everyone else go?
But, where, are you, what, do you not remember? Like, we all just hid from the dog.
What the? He's now just gonna look to see it, and then it's gonna like duck down behind the cart, like, okay, there's a dog. I don't. What's going on?
Are you alright? And it's probably about this time that the rest of you kind of like emerge and see like Nigel kind of hiding behind this cart. And Jack, your head's poking out. This dog is still faced away from you, but you see its ears flick back.
So, can Nigel see Jack?
I mean, if you have a clear view of Nigel, he probably can see you. So yeah.
Yeah, once I see the others, it seems like a sigh of relief. I'm like, okay, everybody else
Jack's
is here.
Gonna hold his finger over his mouth and, like a shush motion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Nigel will kind of quietly make his way over to Jack and be like, what the hell's going on?
So
Yeah, go on.
So I'm guessing that it happened to you. I made the guy forget his memory. Well, forget his memory. Forget the last 5 minutes like I kind of do sometimes. And I guess it happened to you.
What guy? Oh, I guess I wouldn't. Great. Okay, last I remember we were on the lake. You can catch me up later. Where are we trying to go?
We're in the castle. I guess we're trying to get to the dungeon. I'm gonna look in one of these barrels real quick to make sure there's no apples in them.
Okay. You look inside the nearest barrel and you see, looks like potatoes, possibly onions. It's hard to tell because it's kind of dark, but they don't look like apples.
No apples, dang it, must be further up.
Elle's gonna walk over to them like, I think I have an idea so we can get out of here without the dog being noisy. This dog is not a monster, correct?
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's a black shook, essentially, but it's not the black shook that
mini
you
one.
faced. Yeah.
It's like a mini shook.
It's dog, technically.
Can I roll pack leader on it?
Read pack leader to me again.
You can communicate basic feelings and commands to any normal canine. This does not affect monsters, and read their emotional state and basic impressions of ideas. Lasts for 10 minutes.
No, this is not a normal canine. Very specifically not.
You know what I could try to do?
What?
Animal friends. It doesn't specify no monsters.
As the person who wrote it, I'm going to say
I know.
Animals are not monsters. Very specifically. It's very hard to charm monsters. There's a reason why it's not included a lot in the Monster of the Week book.
You know what I just remembered I brought with us?
What did
Snacks.
Oh god. Yeah, I mean, yeah, what are you guys doing?
Well, I'm gonna pull out some beef jerky.
I think at this point we're all just kind of huddled together, quietly whispering to each other of how do we get past this dog.
What are you doing with that jerky?
I'm gonna open the beef jerky and walk over to the dog.
Okay. This is, you can't manipulate monsters. It's very specific that you're not supposed to be able to manipulate monsters, so you can't roll that.
While all this is going on, Gary's gonna kind of make his way back down and hop onto Nigel's shoulder and kind of give him a rundown of what's happened in the last little bit, but it's very disjointed and doesn't make much sense because he's not a good storyteller and he's kind of rambling. It's like listening to a toddler try and tell a story, but it doesn't really go anywhere.
Yeah. Okay, so essentially you can't manipulate a monster, but you can distract one. So this is what you're gonna have to do. I need you to roll act under pressure to see if you can sufficiently get this thing's attention enough to distract it while everybody else gets somewhere else.
Yeah, like put the beef jerky in the hole that it came from. Woo, that was...
You cut out. What was it?
That's it's boxcar, so 14.
Okay. So describe to me how you're distracting this dog.
Oh, like anyone distracts a dog. Feeding it treats and giving it belly rubs.
This is not a belly rub situation. I really want to let you do this, but this is a monster, very specifically. Like, I so want to let you pet the black shook, but it's not it's not possible right now. But I will say that you can feed it treats. And this thing, like, the moment you start walking towards it, this thing turns around and it's got this one big red eye on you. And it starts to growl and then it gets a whiff of the jerky and its head kind of goes up and its ears kind of go up and its head tilts and it kind of goes, and it starts putting its slathering, dripping jaw towards your bag of jerky and it starts to lunge specifically towards the jerky.
Put it in the hole.
All right. You put it into the hole and it runs into the hole and you watch as the thing starts to gnaw on this bag and just like plastic and jerky and all is going down its gullet.
While it's in there, is there anything like a big box that looks kind of heavy that we could just push over the hole?
You've got 2 carts and they've got barrels.
Barrels, yeah.
I would be fine with rolling one of these in front of that hole and just leaving it there.
Should probably do it up.
I will help him.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's no way one person can push this, but if you can get somebody else to help you. So is it Elle and Nigel rolling a cart in front of the hole?
Sounds good. If Jack is with the jerky, then yeah, I guess it'll be the 2 of us.
Yeah. Okay.
Who's helping who?
You're both kind of doing it at the same time, so I'm gonna say that you both kind of roll tough, just straight tough, to see if you can push this thing.
All right.
Guys, if we lock this thing in there, isn't that just gonna cause it to make more noise?
After it's done with the jerky.
Okay, so what is this? I rolled good on magic, and then my fucking tough roll is a 5.
I got an 8. We're just like, you know what? You're right. It's probably best to just leave it in there. I mean, we could totally lock it in there if we wanted to, but you're right. It's not a good idea.
Okay, so this is what happens. The 2 of you start to push this cart forward, and Nigel, you're just huffing and straining and Elle is by you making the same sounds. And Elle, you are pushing, and suddenly you just hear something pop. And you realize very belatedly that there is a very sharp pain coming from your shoulder, and that shoulder that has taken so many fucking beatings and probably been damaged.
Oh, it's not the foot?
No, it's not. It's the shoulder. It's that arm that has been like fucked up so many times at this point.
Always the left shoulder.
The left shoulder has popped out of place, and it is excruciating as this kind of like your arm hangs at a weird angle as your shoulder joint is out of its socket. You have to stop pushing immediately. Nigel, without Elle's help, you don't get this thing all the way in front of it. In fact, you guys cover about half. And this dog is big enough that like it'll have a difficult time pushing past this, but it's certainly not going to stop it if it makes any concerted effort. You guys have a very short time window to like get out of here. It's probably about the next 30 seconds.
All right.
What do you guys
Jack
do?
is real quick gonna look for the way out.
Yeah, let's see if there's like. I guess we just do a look and see which ways we do have out.
Okay. So looking around, just you don't know if they're locked or unlocked or anything just yet, but you can see immediately from where you are. There's the door that you came in, which you wouldn't know what door that is, Nigel. But Gary would kind of point it out to you, like, oh no, that's the one we came in from. There's the door that the person came out and then went back into after Jack neuralized him. And then there's 3 other doors. So along one wall, there's no doors at all, except there's the hole where the dog was. And then along the other wall, under this kind of like awning, there's 3 doors along the sides. And all of these doors are like solid wood. There's really no way to tell where they go or what they do.
Hey, Violet, can you do your earth thing that Nigel was talking about real quick?
Oh yeah, let me see if I can get a better layout. And Violet's going to prepare herself to do her earth sense.
Okay, go ahead and roll for that.
Nine?
All right, pick a glitch.
Hang on, let me get to the thing here.
Wait, Violet didn't get over 10 on magic? What is this?
I know.
Weird.
I'll say the effect has a shorter duration.
Okay. So you go and because there's like snow and just a lot of kind of soft elements to this ground right now, it makes it a little bit harder for you to like really get a strong sense of what's around you. So it doesn't last as long, essentially. The snow is kind of almost dampening your earth sense. But you do get a flash of there's something below you. There seems to be some form of like carved out hallway underground, like maybe a basement or maybe like a dungeon or a cellar or something. In the immediate area next to you along these walls, you don't get the 3rd door, but the 2 closest next to you, you see one that seems to lead downwards, has like a set of staircases that are going down, and one that seems to be going up. And the one closest to you immediately is the one that seems to head down.
Okay, Violet will share that with the rest of the group and then gesture to that door.
Alright, going up and trying to open it, and if it doesn't open, I guess lockpick.
Okay. You go to it, and it seems to open just fine. There doesn't seem to be any lock on it.
Alright, guys, going right through.
Okay. And as you're going through, you start to hear that growl coming out of the hole, and you see as this black shook starts to push its way through, and that red eye is shining on all of you. And he's just growling and forcing its body past. So you all head inside, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. And
Quick
just as you...
question.
Yes.
Is it a monster or a minion?
The dog is a monster.
Dang it.
Yeah. It's its own
You know what
thing.
I was gonna try to do.
Get a sense. But yes, it's a monster. Yeah, as you're closing this door, that dog gets out of the hole and starts to launching towards you, and
I'm gonna throw out some. Oh, never mind. I was gonna throw out some more beef jerky.
it hit the door as it closed and just like body slammed into it. And now you guys are in a very dark hallway with staircase leading down.
Is there a space under the door that something could fit through?
No.
Dang it.
You could open it a crack if you want to, like, stick your hand out.
Yeah, open it a crack and then chunk some beef jerky to the other side of the room.
You just see teeth as they try and snap around your hand and get the beef jerky instead and, like, start... And then you close the door.
I'm just gonna grab Jack by the back of his like coat and just drag him. Like, no, we don't have time for this.
We could keep it though.
You see Raven just shake her head like, we ain't taking the Fae with us. Nope.
I mean, I wouldn't mind that as a pet, but
She just glares at you.
I think we can all feel that glare.
Yeah.
also Elle's gonna pop her shoulder back because ow.
Yeah, I will say that, yeah, you can do that, but you take, you don't take a harm. I'm going to say it's not a harm. It's just painful, so we'll say that you have a -1 on your next roll, whatever it be. Next tough roll. Let's say next tough roll, because, you know, act under or investigate's not going to be bothered by your shoulder.
Yeah.
Well, I could
All
think if it weren't for this shoulder.
Let's go down. And Jack's gonna start heading down.
It is
Stealth.
very dark. This is the interior of like a stone wall castle, and there doesn't seem to be any light, and you're on a staircase.
Interior crocodile alligator.
What?
What?
Never mind.
Moving on.
No, I think this needs to be explained.
I said interior crocodile alligator.
Yeah, we heard you, but what?
You've never heard that before?
No.
Can't say I have, no.
I forgot what. It's a thing.
We'll take your word for it. Even though Violet knows this probably won't work, she's going to take her pencil and tap the ring on her left index finger and try to call forth some light.
Okay. You don't have a spell for that, so just roll weird.
Yeah, no, it was the ring that Polando initially gave her.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and roll weird for that.
Jack doesn't need light. He's a hunter.
And I get a 15.
Oh my god.
Damn.
That's to make up for the last one.
Okay, that helps.
Okay, yeah, you see as light starts to shine forth from this ring, and you're like the farmer in Stardew Valley. It's not really like a light, just like an aura around you, and you can see, all of you can, for about probably 10 feet in pretty decent light. It's not super bright, but it's enough to illuminate your way.
Well, that's a new trick.
I didn't think that would work.
Huh.
Well, I guess I'll take the lead then. And Violet will move past Nigel and Jack and take the lead down the stairs.
Okay.
Magic's gonna lead over. Did she always have a magic glowy ring? That would have come in very helpful
It's
in the
recent.
past.
It's recent.
Okay.
Jack's gonna be behind Violet so he can give her whatchamacallit, RNG if the need comes up.
Okay. All right. So the 5 of you descend these stairs, and they don't go down for as long as you thought they would. It's actually probably about like 1 story's worth, and you find yourself on a landing that turns and goes back down, and then goes down like another story's worth, and then you find yourself in what looks like the doorway to like a cellar, essentially. You can see with the light illuminating from where you are, kind of like rows and rows of wine, like on racks, essentially, and a couple of barrels. And these seem to go on for a very long time. It's a very large room, and it's cold and it's not very well lit. But you've got the ring of light helping you see your way.
Is this the room that Violet had sensed with her earth sense earlier above?
It is. This is the kind of, you couldn't tell because of how dampened it was, if it was a hall or if it was a cellar or something. But now that you're down here, you recognize that was the top that you could see. And this is certainly some kind of cellar. And like a wine cellar, it's like not square top, but like almost like arches. I don't know if you've ever seen those, but like kind of like built in like arched cells, essentially.
I think I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah.
Are there like just like casks or other bottles and stuff as well?
There's both. So there's a couple of racks that you can see. And then there's a lot of like kind of stacked wine barrels. The racks seem to be closer to this door, probably for ease of access. And then the barrels seem to go further in. And you can see that from here it seems to be mostly wine barrels, but there's some that look bigger and different in the distance. So you're not entirely sure if it's all wine or if it's just this seems to be the most immediate area.
I'm just gonna like pick up one of the bottles and just be like, "Do you think the queen would be okay with a bottle of wine if we don't get the apple?" Just saying, we could make a pit stop.
Probably not.
Yeah, he'll just put it back.
You just see Raven, like, white knuckled, clenching her fists. Don't steal from the Fae!
It's like our entire job here.
No, our job is to rescue people, not to
Steal
get.
people.
She just stops and, like, just looks terrified and frustrated.
Do you really think they would have a pathway leading down to the dungeon that would go through their wine cellar? And Violet's gonna kind of be poking around the corners of barrels and stuff like that as she says that.
I doubt it, but there may be another exit that goes into maybe a kitchen. Can't imagine their only entrance to the cellar leads out into a random little courtyard.
Yeah, I'll start looking around for doors, maybe another secret entrance, exit, whatever.
So it is a large, like, this place, as you're moving through it, you start to realize that it's actually fairly large. So it's not like just one small cellar. They seem to be like interconnected. And as you start moving, you start to see different kinds of barrels and boxes and shapes that are under tarps. And you start to realize that this is probably not just a cellar, but the cellar was probably what was closest to what you can assume was probably the kitchens, where the dog and the person were. But now as you're moving through it, this seems to be accessing essentially a larger storage area under this castle. Go ahead and who's leading the search for a way out of here towards, going down?
I vote Jack.
Violet also has the light, so she would also be searching.
Okay, so I'm gonna say Violet, you could roll help out for Jack investigate, or Jack, you can roll help out to assist Violet's investigation. One of the two.
If it looks like Jack is taking the lead and trying to find stuff, Violet will probably follow along behind. So I guess
Okay.
Violet would roll to help out.
All right.
Jack's
go ahead.
always wanted to infiltrate a castle. This is his thing.
Go ahead and roll help out. And Jack, roll investigate a mystery.
All right, that's good.
I got an 8 on help out.
Okay.
Well,
so,
I got a 9, so that makes it a 10.
all right. You guys start to move through these like kind of like arched sections, and as you're moving through it, you start to realize that yes, they seem to be broken up into like this section that you immediately came into was the wine cellar, and immediately past it seems to be like where they store stuff like vegetables and meats that are being kept cool. And then after that, you start to see a section that has like tableware and what seems to be spare cutlery or something.
I have one question.
Yes.
Were there any apples?
No. I'll say with that investigate, you're still looking for apples and you don't see any apples. You see onions and garlic and some old looking like packs of berries, etc., but you don't see anything that looks like an apple.
Dang.
Yes. But so as you're starting to move through these like areas, you notice that there seem to be doors moving off of different sections. Almost all of them seem to be leading up, however. And then you get to what isn't really the back far wall, because you can tell that the castle is much larger, but you've hit a wall essentially, and as you follow this wall along, you come to a door that is locked. It seems a little bit different than the rest. That's what I'll give you.
Like, is it still wooden, or is this one purely made out of metal?
This one looks like it's fortified. So, like, where the others looked kind of like just very similar to the doors upstairs, heavy wood, but otherwise not any more fortified than that. This one has some iron bars, or not iron, but some kind of metal, I will say. It's not iron, but it's some kind of metal that is reinforcing it, essentially.
Can I?
Yeah.
Can I, like, try to reach out magically to see if it's, you know, like a silent magical alarm or something?
Yeah, if you want, you can roll weird for that.
11.
Okay, I will give this as part of your investigate as well. This thing is not magically alarmed, but it is heavily reinforced by harder woods and this strange metal that as you're looking at it, you realize is definitely not any kind of metal that you know. It's certainly not iron or steel or anything, but it is heavier than the silver that you had seen.
It's tungsten.
You're all wrong. It's tinfoil. No.
Dang it. Aluminium.
So yeah, but you can tell that this is locked, and it seems like this is more, what can I give you on this without giving it away? It is more well fortified than the rest because it seems to be possibly leading somewhere more secure. That's what I'll say.
Hey, Elle, do you want to pick a lock?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Lock picking is act under pressure, right?
Yes, since it's not an actual move, I will have you act under pressure. I mean, it's technically not an actual move for anyone else. It is a move for the crooked if they want to pick it up, but Elle does not have it. So this is an act under pressure to see if you can use those wily wits that you have to try and pick this lock.
Can I give L RNG?
You could. Go ahead and roll RNG if you want.
Alright, that's 7, so I'll have to choose a glitch.
Okay. What's your glitch?
Let me pull up the list. I'll go with I'll take -1 on my next roll.
Okay. So you are essentially, you feel as you're transferring this luck to her that there's just this kind of almost, it's not really disapproval, but just this vague sense in the back of your mind that Loki probably doesn't appreciate all this generosity that you're giving to other people. And so you just feel like maybe the next time it's not going to work as well for you. But it doesn't matter because it seems to be working out for Elle. Elle, you got a +1 on your act under pressure roll.
All right. That makes it a 13.
Okay. This is for you easy peasy. The whatever kind of locks that they're using here, even if they seem to consider this a more secure door, it's really not up to par to modern technology. And so you find no trouble to get through this particular lock. And it just pops open and the door swings outwards. And you guys have to move back a little bit to reveal what looks like another set of stairs leading down. Yeah.
It's tinfoil, so Elle just crushes it in her hand.
It's not actually tinfoil, but yes.
So, Violet, I guess you go first.
Sounds good. Violet will go and enter through the door.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess Nigel will follow behind with Gary.
Yeah.
All right, so the 5 of you start to follow down into this door. Raven at the back looking exceptionally unhappy about this whole situation. This staircase goes down for a while, and whereas the other one seemed to be pretty well traversed, there was a sense as you were going down it that had been walked pretty recently. This one doesn't. This one seems almost like that door hadn't been opened anytime recently. And there's not really dust because it doesn't really have a lot, but like the settling of, you know, loose dirt and anything else that had like kind of, you know, fallen down off of these stone walls essentially. And you eventually come to the bottom. And what you see laid out in front of you is a long hallway. This is much deeper than you had been earlier. But you get the sense that there's still some part of this that you feel like you're underground, but also at the same time, like you can see a light in the distance that looks almost like natural light. You're not quite sure if it's sunlight or, you know, what passes for sunlight in this weird ever night kind of glow that you saw outside, or if it's something else. But far down at the end of the hallway, you see that kind of light shining. The rest of it is dark, however, and there are doors on both sides of the hall. Dark, heavy. These ones reinforced in the same way that the other door had been by some kind of strange metal that you don't recognize. Although these ones seem to have a little bit of something different about them. They seem to have like what looks like a panel of this metal almost at head height. But outside of that, they all look pretty sturdy.
There's panels over the doors, like the face height, I guess.
Yeah, there's like a panel. Like it's spread across the whole door. It's just...
Does it look like something we could slide open?
Yeah,
It
like
does.
move.
All right, Nigel will kind of carefully just slide it open, take a look inside.
It's dark. Like pitch black.
Well, we have flashlights.
Yeah, Nigel will pull a flashlight, just point it in, and see what's in there.
Okay. You point it in, and the first thing you see is a pile of dirty, old, moldering rags and some dried bones. You don't know whether they're human, elf, animal. Just very old-looking bones.
Well, we found the dungeon.
All right.
Jack's just gonna try to whistle loudly to see if anything responds.
As soon as Jack does that, Nigel's gonna put a hand over his mouth, like, what if there is a guard?
Nigel, roll act under pressure to see if you can get your hand over Jack's mouth fast enough to stop him from making this noise.
Can I use I read about this sort of thing because I know Jack?
You read your own diary, yes.
I've written this in my journal, being
You
like,
can't
"Hey, Jack."
prepare for the Jackinator. That sounds wrong.
We are never calling Jack the Jackinator.
You could have gone with Jackhammer. You could have gone with anything. But...
The Jackinator.
So that's a 9?
Okay, you get your hand off, you get your hand across his mouth decently fast, but there's still enough time for Jack to get a good before it goes over. Louder than that, because Jack knows how to
Jack's
actually listen.
biting Nigel's hand.
Yeah, and you're currently nomming on
I'm wearing my glove, and I'm used to Gary biting me. I'm fine.
You guys all stop and stock still as Jack does this. And for a moment, there's nothing. And then in the distance, it's hard to tell because of the way that it echoes around, but you think it's in the distance. You just hear this inhuman scream. Just...
Like a deer? Or caribou?
Like a banshee?
I'm sorry. Hold on. I need to backtrack. Do caribou scream?
Yes.
Yeah? That was very close.
Yes, they do.
It's kind of haunting, but yeah, that's what they sound like.
Well, yes, I guess, but no, it's not. I would say it's not a caribou. It sounds inhuman and inanimal,
Like
I
a
guess.
banshee.
Possibly. It just sounds terrifying.
You're a band. Got it.
I'm pretty sure after hearing that, everyone is just glaring at Jack.
Elle's gonna punch Jack on his burn side.
Can I move out of the way?
Are we doing this? Are we doing this now?
Yes, we are. We are doing this now.
We're professionals, really. We're so good at this.
I mean, if I have to roll kick some ass for it, I'll do it. But she's just punching him out of reflex. Like,
Are we rolling kick some ass?
I mean,
It depends if you're trying to do harm, I think.
Yeah,
I
are
mean,
you trying to hurt him?
I mean, she's just punching him like, what the hell? But I think
On the
I don't
burn
know if
side.
Elle knows her strength. So, and if it's on his burn side, I don't know if it would unintentionally do harm. So,
yeah, roll kick some ass. Let's see what you do.
Oh, God damn it.
it's fine. That's an 8.
Okay. Well, with a mixed success, you both take harm. So you punch him, forgetting that you've recently injured your shoulder, and it jostles your shoulder, and you both kind of double over. And I'm going to say that you didn't punch him hard enough to do like significant harm, so you're not going to take like an actual harm. But you both get like a -1 on your next one because that hurt your fucking shoulder, and Jack, that hurt your fucking burn.
All right, I already have a harm, so I should probably heal that sometime soon.
Probably. Okay. You hear the scream in the distance, and then you hear it again now as you are squabbling, and it seems to be getting closer.
I'm gonna move to the front of the group and just pull out the hammer.
Okay.
We could just leave.
Elle's getting next to him with the battle axe, just ready to go.
Gary would like to use Eek.
All right. Gary, go ahead and roll for Gary.
Let's see, that is sharp. Okay. Let's see. So that's a 7. So out of his 3, I'm gonna go. You hide okay, but your hiding spot is bound to be spotted soon.
Okay.
So Gary's probably gonna like jump to some spot where he can turn to a statue, but it doesn't make sense for there to be one down here. So
Yes.
yeah, Nigel is probably trying to like, guys, we should just go. But do we see this thing or?
It hasn't shown up yet.
Guys, we should just go now. Come on.
Yeah, I don't think we have time to be fighting monsters. Besides, I don't think this is a dungeon to hold people in. I think this is where they put people just until they die.
That would make sense why something that's screaming would be here. It's probably a banshee. Let's leave, yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
You just hear Raven in the back going, yeah, because banshees are omens of death. Of course, let's leave.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's one single hallway here leading towards that light. And you can tell now that the sound is coming from probably down that way, but you can see as you're moving towards it that there's what looks like a T section, essentially. You can go left or right. Which way do you go?
Glancing down either way, does it look different one way or the other?
It does not. They both seem to be lined. Yeah.
Can I do a read a bad situation really quickly?
You can.
Oh man, that's the thing we can do, right?
It is the thing you can do. And if I was smarter, I would remember to ask you to do it, but I'm not, so.
Well, with the -2, that would cancel out my +2. That's an 11.
Oh my god! How did this dice rolls? Jeez.
So you got 3 hold on read a bad situation.
All right. What's the best way out of this place?
Okay. So
Maybe what's the best way in to the way out? I don't know.
Best way in makes sense because we're trying to get in deeper.
Yeah.
Not how that, but
yeah, I'll say the best way out of this situation, away from this banshee that you sense is coming towards you, without completely turning around and leaving, is going to be going to the left. And now that you're down closer to the end of this tunnel, you can see that from the right there seems to be a staircase, and that's where that light seems to be coming from. And that's also where the noise of this like banshee is coming from. So the The left is darker and seems to lead more inward and away from whatever is making that noise.
All right. I guess the next would be what's the best way to protect the victims?
Meaning the 5 of you, run
Yeah.
like hell.
All right.
Yeah, Nigel's grabbing Gary and just like, let's go.
What about dumb question? What's most vulnerable to me? With my holy weapon.
That's a difficult one because you can't really see what's coming at you. I will say that you could probably do some damage to something, but what you can, like, with the information that you currently have, that's not really something you can answer. I will say,
Yeah.
because you can't see anything, you can hold on to that, and if something comes into view, use it.
Could I switch the question to
Yeah, if you want to use a different one that you feel is pertinent right now.
Yeah, are there any dangers we haven't noticed?
At the moment, no. It seems to be particularly whatever is coming down those stairs towards you and screaming as it does is the biggest danger and the only one currently noticeable.
All right, time to book it.
Those aren't the stairs that we came down, right? They're another set of stairs.
There are a different set of stairs, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So we're gonna take a short break, actually, 10-minute break, because I really need to run to the restroom, and it's good to take care of our bodies. So we will be back in like 10 minutes at 11 o'clock, and we will continue from there. All right?
Yeah.
Yee.
Yeah.
I can find where my shit is, because it's all moved around. All right, BRB.
Yeah.
I almost said welcome back.
I mean,
Yes,
Yeah?
welcome back.
Yeah.
welcome
welcome
back in the
back.
audience. How you guys doing?
welcome back. I always forget to mute the right mic when I switch scenes because for some reason it's like it's like my mic audio is the second in every other screen, but on the break screen it's the third and I can't move it. So I always end up muting like the media, which is already muted because there's no sound associated with it, and then just leaving me as I'm typing away answering an email. and occasionally muttering fuck. Like,
Ah, dang! I should have had the sound on for the stream.
so yeah, but welcome back everybody. I have gummies. That's what's in my mouth right now. You all are currently standing in a dark hallway, and walking down it,
Running
down it.
left.
It's true. Running down the left, as this thing is coming down these stairs, and basically, with your high rolls, are able to essentially, and using Jack's fortunate navigation to get you away from it, able to get pretty far away before it comes to the bottom. And it doesn't seem to notice you as you're running away into this dark. It starts to, like, you know, if you turn around briefly to see, you can see this, like, shadowed figure vaguely hovering off the ground start to, like, almost seems to, like, sniff the air and starts going down that other hallway that you guys just came out of. What do you do?
Well, I guess first things first, we'll check to see what's around us right now.
It is...
Yeah, Jack's staying near the back. I guess closer to where it was.
Mm-hmm. It is more of these doorways. They're the same kind of dark paneled wood, with these panels that are currently closed, and no lights.
You said the floor was, like, fairly dusty and kind of dirty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does it look like any of these doors have been opened recently and have maybe made tracks in the dirt on the ground?
Go ahead and roll investigate a mystery. No, you know what? You're running currently down this hall. So go ahead and roll act under pressure, to see if you can, like, essentially focus enough to investigate, is what I'm saying.
An 8?
Okay. So you can investigate, but I'm going to say that with that mixed result, you're going to take a -1 on your investigate because you're just booking it down this hall. You don't really have enough time to, like, thoroughly examine things.
Okay, so roll for an investigate with a -1.
Yes.
7.
Okay. So you get to hold 1.
I guess the best question would be, like, what happened here? Using it in the sense of, like, what has recently happened here. Has any of these doors been recently opened?
Okay, I'll go with that. I will say that you are looking at the ground trying to see if any of these doors have been open, and you don't see anything that indicates that they've been open, but you're starting, as you're running, to realize that the dust and dirt in front of you seems to have been disturbed, and there's almost a very light trail, essentially, of what looks like footprints and possibly something having been dragged. It's not fresh. It looks like it might have been a little bit a while ago, but it's certainly much fresher than the rest of the dust around here.
Okay, and the thing that's behind us, it's not like immediately behind us, right?
No, at the moment it seemed to have gone down the way that you came in.
Okay, then with Violet's sudden attention on the ground and the fact that she's seeing tracks, she's just gonna abruptly stop.
Okay. You guys all basically barrel into Violet as she stops dead and kind of throws an arm out in the middle of this hallway.
Guys, look, I think something's been dragged through this hallway recently.
Is it going the way that we came?
I mean, it looks like it.
Alright, I'm gonna start heading back then.
No, it's going off ahead of us, right? Like, the way
Yeah.
we're currently going?
I was very confused for a second. I was like, why are you going back?
No,
it's,
we gotta go deeper.
it looks, I will say with that, you know, with her investigate, you can tell that they're heading inwards. Like it was heading the way you're going.
Yeah, so
Okay.
you slow down, but we'll keep an eye on this trail and follow it then.
Yeah.
All right, that's good.
Yeah, I'll stay at the back in case it comes at us from the rear.
Oh my.
Yeah, I was about to say I could have phrased that better. First Jackinator and now this.
The Jackinator's coming from the rear, guys. So,
God damn it.
So you guys start following this trail, and now that you can see where it's going and you've spotted it, you can see it pretty clearly because the rest of the dust around this seems fairly unused, or not possibly unused so much as once something's been put down here, it's never really revisited again. So you start to follow it, and it leads you kind of through this labyrinthine underground area of hallways that all look the same and are all pitch black. And every now and again, as you're passing like a door, you hear sometimes sounds coming from inside them, but none of them are like, they don't have any kind of like recent dust opening, essentially, and only the trail seems to be recent. So whatever's in those don't seem to have been placed there anytime recently. Then this trail just heads deeper and deeper, and eventually you come to what looks like a long spiral staircase in this stone, heading down into this like mountainside on this island.
Does the trail head down the staircase?
It does.
Violet's going to look back at the rest of the group and then just silently continue to follow the trail down the staircase.
Yeah, Nigel will follow down behind her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Jack too, but he's watching for any dangers.
Raven just like shakes her head like, this is the stupidest idea. This is not smart. And then, but she keeps following. Okay, yeah, and you head down the spiral staircase, and as you're going, at first it's dark, just as dark as the rest, and the only light is coming from that ring that you have, Violet. And it seems to go on for a very long time. But eventually, as you are, descending, you start to notice that there seems to be almost a lightening of the, of this staircase. Like something is, it's not so much as like there's a source of light as just the darkness is not quite so oppressive against you. And eventually you start to see that there seems to be something essentially filtering down from the bottom of this spiral staircase, and you can see light. And It's kind of that orange, flickery, golden light of fire. And you guys come to the bottom of the stairs and you find yourself on a landing with a lit torch and a heavy door in front of you that is currently closed.
I guess since Violet is in the lead, she'll try to maybe not fully open the door, but open it just enough to get a peek of what's inside.
Does it have one of those little peaky panels on the top of it?
It does not.
Okay.
Violet, you reach for this door handle and it is very firmly locked.
Well, Elle, do you think you could work your magic on this one?
I can try.
And I'll try to give her RNG again.
Okay.
And I already used stuff. Well, is it like continuous -1? Wait, no, it was just on the next roll.
It was on the next roll.
Yeah, so that would.
That's a 7.
Okay.
So I'll take -1 again.
Okay. And DNC, you get a +1.
Alright, that makes it a 10.
Okay. Yeah, again, just like the one upstairs. It's a little bit more complicated, certainly. This one seems to be more heavily fortified. But you have no real problem getting it popped off, essentially. And you hear the lock click, and this door starts to swing open as you pull the handle. Yeah. There is light filtering through the crack of the door now that it's been unlocked.
Can we distinguish anything on the other side of the door with it being open just a crack?
I would say, yeah, if you put your eyes against it, you can kind of see into what. It's difficult from that angle without like opening it wider, but you would be able to see that it seems to be some kind of room.
Okay, no.
Oh no.
No visible presence of any, like, guards or anything? Like chairs or a table down there, just a room?
Not from being able to open it a crack. Like what you can see essentially opening it this crack and putting your eye against it, I would say, is that it seems to be a room because you can see that there's a wall that's further away, so it doesn't look like a hallway, but you don't have any kind of like clear vision of the room itself.
Okay. Violet's going to look back to the rest of the group and sort of give them a silent hand wave as a signal to, like, be prepared and get ready in case, like, anything pops out and attacks us, and she's going to slowly open, or I guess just yank the door open.
Okay. You yank the door open, and the first thing you hear is, "Oi, what's going on?" And somebody else going, what's happening? And then you see this large figure in some kind of wooden armor standing in front of the door, looming over it with this large axe in his hand. Who are you?
Loki sent us.
The fuck is Loki?
Well, now I'm offended. You haven't heard of him?
I haven't heard of anybody named Loki. Oi,
You know,
you,
the gods.
you smell human. We've got humans in here. What the fuck is this? And then he just starts to like raise his axe.
Jack's throwing the hammer.
Okay.
Violet is Are there 2 guards or just 1?
You can only
in
see
this?
this guard is huge. He's literally filling the entire door with his body, so you can't see past him. You can't even really see
Okay.
what he looks like. You could just tell that like he's this like kind of massive form in this like wooden armor.
Okay. As Jack is getting out his hammer and getting ready to go after this guy, Violet is
Oh,
going
he's had
to
it out.
earthwall his leg.
Okay, we're gonna say you guys are doing this simultaneously then. Violet, go ahead and roll your earth wall, and Jack, roll for your kick some ass.
Can we roll
So,
manipulate
11.
person?
All right. How much
And
damage does
10.
that do?
Earth wall is just 1, because earth does no damage, but
Mhm.
wall always does 1 damage.
Okay. And your Jack, yours is what's your harm on that?
It's 3 harm and I think stun and holy.
Okay.
And earth wall also has forceful restraining.
Okay. You see this earth wall just come up and encase his legs, and he starts to like pull like, oi, what in the, and just as he's starting to like try and pull himself out of it, Jack, you swing the hammer straight into his chest, and you see this this armor kind of almost not quite crack, but like little chips of wood seem to fly off, and he just says, you see the electricity go off of it, but like you also see the fact that like it doesn't seem to penetrate the armor to him, so it doesn't stun him. It's like the wood blocks it because the wood isn't conductive. But he is currently restrained, and he seems to be, the breath seemed to have been knocked out of him for a second, and he like slumps over a little bit, kind of stuck where he is, and he like tries to take a deep breath, but it doesn't really quite manage it at first. But he doesn't seem to be knocked out. He looks like he's kind of ready to kind of rise up again, and he kind of and he just looks like he's trying to say something.
We heard a second voice in this room, right?
You did.
Now I'm just gonna just charge past this guy to get into the room and see who the second person might be.
Okay.
Like,
he's like filling the door, so I'm not saying you can't do
Was
this.
he
Like,
not knocked down?
he's not knocked down. He's stuck because of the earth wall. So he's kind
Okay.
of, there's an earth wall and a huge figure. So you can do it, but I'm gonna have you like an act under pressure to basically crawl past this guy because he's not stunned. He's just
Okay, sorry,
Out of-
I had a different scene in my head here.
yeah.
So I thought he was like kind of knocked back, but still held by his legs.
No, he's like he got hit in the chest and it like knocked the wind out of him, and now he's kind of like doubled forward essentially.
Could I try to get his axe away from him? Because it doesn't sound like he's ready to swing it right away.
You could. That would also be an act under pressure.
All right, I haven't drawn my sword yet, so I'm gonna try and grab this axe with both hands and rip it out of his hands.
All right.
Act under pressure, or would it be tough?
I want you to roll an act under pressure to see if you can even get it out of his hands first.
All right.
Yeah. It is a massive axe, so it will take some doing. But
That's a 7?
okay. I will say with a 7 that you are. This is what I'm going to give you. You can get it out of his hands, but you're going to drop it very heavily on your own foot, and take a -1 forward as you have to kind of like deal with that pain. You can get it out of his hands safely, but he's going to be able to get at you while you do it. Or you're not going to be able to get it out of his hands, but you will have distracted him from essentially engaging with anyone else at the moment.
I think I'll get the axe away from him and basically just chuck it behind me so it lands closer to the others, but I'll stay within his range and possibly get attacked or whatever.
Okay.
I'm basically just wanting to disarm him of that giant thing.
Yeah, so you like grab it with both hands and just full body yank it, and you don't even like, it's not even so much as like you pick it up, it's just that like the force of you wrenching it backwards essentially tosses it over your own shoulder, just barely missing, like cutting it into your shoulder blade, just of how close this axe head is. But you get it away from him, and he reaches for it, and realizing that he's not going to be able to grab it before it's out of his reach, instead he grabs you by the throat with his massive hands. And he lifts you up, essentially, and starts squeezing and shaking.
Can
Yes.
Gary make an attack from my shoulder since he's been my hood?
He can. I will say that he can.
Gary would like to just jump in this guy's face just to hopefully startle him enough to drop me.
Okay.
Dang, I thought you were gonna ghost dodge.
We all know how well that works for me, okay? Gary's got a -1 on tough. This is gonna hurt. Okay, that's Wait, that's the -1. Okay, he had a 7, but -1 brings it down to a 6. Gary's not good at combat.
He's still dabbing. He's still learning.
He's still learning, yeah.
Okay, so Gary jumps at this creature's face, and he's wearing a wooden mask, so Gary kind of just scrabbles against it, trying to find a purchase, and realizing that there's something covering his eye holes, essentially, he lets go of you with one hand, but, you know, he's still got you lifted up off the ground and is squeezing, and this hand is massive, so it's not like it really is taking him much effort. And then he just swats at Gary on his face, and you see Gary kind of get momentarily squished and then knocked out, and he falls to the ground and rolls away.
How much harm does Gary take from that?
That is 2 harm, armor defeating.
Oh my... Does Gary even have armor?
Does he? No, he doesn't.
I don't think so. I don't think we ever discussed anything, because he can't
No.
really wear stuff. Okay, well, that's not good. He just hit my boy. Oh, I'm mad.
You know what I haven't tried in a while?
What's that?
Chaos Theory.
True. Which you can do if you'd like, but I kind of want to give Elle a
Yeah,
chance to do something if she'd like.
Oh, Elle's gonna do something. It's probably not her smartest idea.
Okay, what are you doing?
Gonna take off her stuff for one thing.
It's just quick striptease.
Well,
Oh no. I know what's gonna happen now.
well, her backpack, her jacket.
I was
The jacket
drinking
and-
right when Lady said that.
Elle's gonna try and do a distraction. Impromptu burlesque.
Has
gonna-
Elle become our bard?
Oh my god, Elle's the bard now. Yep.
Okay, so what are you doing?
I'm gonna tell Violet to remove the earth wall and transform and football tackle this asshole out of the doorway, or attempt to.
Okay, do you drop the earth wall, Violet?
Violet would be reluctant at first, but then turning around to look at Elle and see what she's doing, she'll drop the earth.
All right. Roll what you need to roll for that. I don't remember what it is.
I don't have to roll to transform.
You don't. That's something you picked up from the monstrous, or did I give that to you?
No, you gave that to me.
I did. Can you read it to me again? Because I'm just brain mush right now.
Let me find it. Hold on. At the beginning of combat, at the beginning of the fight, I can change into a partial form of a werewolf. In this form, I get +1 to tough or kick some ass ongoing until I change back into human. I have my passive, and then I mark a box every time I transform.
Yes. Okay. So mark a box. That was it. I was like, I know there's
Yeah.
a cost. That didn't just give you some great freebie.
Oh
for
yeah,
this.
no, I was gonna say I marked the box.
Okay.
And then I assume kick some ass to
yeah.
football tackle.
This is kick some ass.
$11.
Okay. So this is an unarmed attack, essentially. So it's not going to do like as much as your regular attack is going to do, but you certainly are able to like grapple him. So you launch towards him, and in your transformed state, you're not quite as big as he is, but you're certainly bigger than you were before. Probably a good like 2/3 of his size, and you come at him from like the center of gravity and catch him around the middle and just full on like tackle him to the ground. Nigel, you are brought with them as he doesn't seem to let go. He's still holding you by the neck, although he is currently, the other free hand is scrabbling against L's back as he falls down, and you fall down on top of him as well, Nigel. You're able to get like your knees or your feet kind of on him / the ground enough so that the pressure is being relieved off of your neck and you're able to breathe again. But he is still holding on to you pretty decently. But L, you have a very solid hold onto him now as well. What were you going to do, Jack? You were next.
I was going to Chaos Theory to make him, well, to try to make him drop Nigel, but and not anymore.
There's enough chaos going on right now as it is.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. I threw the hammer, so I'm gonna pick it up and try to get into the room.
Okay. I will say with the earth. Well, what do you want to do, Violet?
I was just going to ask that now, since this guy has been pushed down and is lying prone, can Violet see farther into the room and possibly see the other voice that we heard speak?
You can. I will say that it's kind of hectic and there's a lot of stuff going on in front of you, but you can see that this room is fairly well lit and that there seems to be a couple of figures hanging back towards the back of this room, looking at you with kind of wide eyes, and you don't know which one of them spoke, but they don't seem to be wearing armor, and I think that's the most impression that you get currently in the middle of this kind of like really hectic situation.
Yeah, that's why I was mainly trying to get in there. But hey, I'm still gonna try to get in there.
Okay. Yeah, I will say that because he's knocked to the ground and the earth wall's down, you don't have any problems getting into the room.
Alright, I'll look at how many people is there?
You see 3, I would say, from where you currently are. They're kind of huddled towards the back, and as you're looking into it, you can see that this seems to be some kind of, like, room with some beds, some rudimentary looking like a table, the chair where this guard supposedly sat because it seems to be massive. Yeah, it just looks like 3 people, elves, I should say, because you can see that they have their pointy ears.
Yeah. Jack's gonna point at them and just go, "Are you the prisoners? We're here to get you out."
Did the Summer Queen send you?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, that's you're
Actually,
here to get us.
Where's Adam?
Adam, do you mean the human? He's he's not here. They took him from us when they brought us over to the Winter Court. I don't know what they did with him, but he hasn't been with us. They brought us down here almost immediately and kind of just threw us in here like savages.
All right, L interrogation time.
It is really the best time to be interrogating when we can actually anybody.
Can I hit the dude's hand to get it to let go?
Yeah.
Or arm, not hand, arm.
Yes, that's a very distinct importance.
Kick him in the elbow or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you can smack this dude in the arm with your hammer if you want.
That's a good 9.
All right. You can smack him in the crook of his elbow and he will drop Nigel, but Nigel is going to fall very hard. You can smack him and he's not really going to drop Nigel, but it's going to hurt enough that Nigel's going to get lowered so that he'll have a better purchase on the ground and maybe be able to struggle his way away from him. Or you can miss, smack him in the head, essentially, and but he's going to be able to possibly either swipe at you or do something to Nigel before he is essentially harmed.
I mean, I wanted Nigel to drop, so...
Oh my god.
Nigel, you fall from probably, he's pretty massive and tall, and even though you've got your, feet on his chest, essentially, when he lets go of you, you kind of lose that purchase and fall backwards onto your back, and all the air rushes out of your lungs as you fall probably a good 6 feet. And you're having a hard time breathing and just getting that breath in there, and you have to take a moment to catch your breath, and you're just not going to be able to do anything for a while because you're just trying to make sure you didn't break a rib.
Ow! Do I take any harm?
No, you just...
Okay.
You're currently incapacitated for a while. Yeah. What do you guys want to do now? He is currently still being grappled. He's trying to get his hands on Elle, and now that hand has let go of Nigel and it's free, he actually brings it around and tries to grab Elle by basically the scruff of her neck, and starts to pull hard. Come here. Elle, you take 2 points of damage as he digs massive kind of clawed gauntlets into this scruff of your transformation, and you can feel as they're kind of not getting to your spine, but essentially clawing along that area.
Okay.
And they're leaving really bloody gashes. Okay, but what do you guys want to do?
I would like to try something.
Okay.
From the position where this
Do it. I swallow his
giant
hands
is
up.
prone,
Mm.
and Ella's on top of him, Jack, he's off to the side. What are the positions of his head, neck, and where Elle is on top of him?
I would say because of what Elle's size is, her muzzle currently reaches about where his neck is, and he's got his arms wrapped. It almost looks like a hug if it wasn't so violent and looking like they're trying to rip each other's heads off. But
Bear hug.
Yeah, bear hug. If the bear was really angry, and he's looking, essentially like he can't really quite if he tried to headbutt her, it wouldn't work. If that's what you're asking.
Okay, so there's basically space between Elle's head, this guy's neck, and his head, right?
There's space between Elle's head and his head. Her head's neck level with him, I would say.
I think I see.
Yeah.
You're gonna try and reverse guillotine the guy, right?
Not yet, but yes. So this is what
Please no.
This is what Violet would like to do.
Mm-hmm.
Violet is going to get into position where she has a better view,
Mm-hmm.
and she is going to not. There's no real aggressive way that she can summon a wall, but I guess just very, very quickly and very suddenly,
Mm-hmm.
she is going to summon her thin ice blade wall
Mm-hmm.
literally right beside this guy's head, so he sees it and notices it.
Mm-hmm.
And if she successfully does so, she's basically going to threaten him with it.
Okay. So this is a series of rolls. Go ahead and roll your ice wall to see if you can do this precisely.
That's 11.
Okay. Yeah, it comes up like barely an inch from slicing off what would be his ear if it wasn't currently being covered in this wooden helmet, essentially. And he doesn't really seem to notice immediately, but like he tries to like turn his head away from Elle, who is currently scrabbling to try and get a purchase on him, and basically, you know, drive her muzzle into his neck and just rip his throat out. And he turns and immediately sees that kind of ice wall, and you just hear him go, "Oh, what the hell? Where did that come from?" Yeah, how are you intimidating this
And then
guy?
Violet is going to address him and say, "We're not here to hurt anyone, but we will not hesitate to take a life if we need to. Where is Adam, the human that was with these Sealy?"
Go ahead and roll.
She's not manipulating, she's just trying to intimidate
Yeah,
him.
yeah, you're intimidating. Go ahead and
Intimidating is
roll.
kind of manipulating.
Yeah, it's a manipulation. I have to look at my thing to see if you can intimidate this guy, or if I'm gonna make you.
Would her ice wall and threat to chop off his head intimidate him enough to maybe calm down and rethink his action?
I'm trying to see what I want you to roll. Essentially, is what
Okay.
it is, because I
I
like
think
what
you
you're
can
doing.
manipulate minions.
Yeah. Hold on. I don't have my.
He is a
mouse with
minion,
me.
right?
I'm looking right now. Shush.
Can I just say I appreciate how nice Violet sounds when she's threatening to cut
I
someone's head
know.
off?
I know.
Maybe just have it be kick some ass.
I just like the
'Cause
idea.
it's-
Sorry.
Let me see.
I just like the idea that Violet's really nice about threatening someone, and it's just like, it's nothing personal, it's just business.
Just business. And it's not anything against you. You know what? I'm gonna say that it says it's not on the reference sheet, and I don't really feel like going into the book, so I'm gonna say he is a minion because that's what he is, and you can do this. So go ahead and roll manipulate someone with a +1 advantage for the ice wall intimidation.
Yay, 0 charm.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
0, what happens when you have a +1, or is it just 0 by itself?
It's -1 by itself.
Okay, so 0 charm.
That would be an 8.
Okay. So let me think about this for a second. Do it only if you do something for them right now to show that you mean it. All right. So you're essentially proposing that you're not here to hurt anyone and you're just trying to find the human, right? He kind of looks at you, and you can't really see much through this like wooden mask. And he goes, "Ugh, you humans are dumber than I thought. You don't know what you're dealing with, do you? You're in the Winter Court. You're trying to manipulate me by telling me you're not going to hurt me? You've never met the Winter Queen, have you? I do something stupid like that and let you walk around looking for her son, I'm definitely gonna get thrown off the top of this, and that's if I'm lucky. He gestures towards like the mountain as he's saying that. No way. I ain't doing nothing. You want to walk out of here, you're going to have to knock me out, because that's the only way you're getting past me while I'm awake. And he kind of like...
Wait. Her what now?
You're talking about Adam, right?
He just looks at you like, what? You don't even know who you're here to rescue? Well, this is a pity party if I ever seen one.
Violet's going to do another ice blade beside the other side of his head.
Okay, go ahead and roll it.
Another 11.
All right. And another one just comes shink right up, and he kind of tries to turn his head, and now it's kind of like stuck, and he just... Yeah, what do you want to do?
Violet is going to address him again and just be like, and you are dealing with people who have nothing to lose. Where is Adam?
Oh, all right. Look, little miss. He kind of like, you can see he's trying to turn his head and it's kind of stuck, and he kind of, listen. All right. Look, let me tell you, if the Winter Queen knows I did anything to compromise her plans, I'm dead meat. However, what I'm trying to tell you, hint, hint, wink, wink, is that if I'm not awake, you can do what you like. Hint, hint, wink, wink. I really certainly think...
Oh, I get it, and I'm gonna hit him on the head.
Okay. Roll kick some ass.
7.
All right. You can do this. Yeah. So what's gonna happen is you can do this, and it's going to knock him out, but it's going to cause you some harm. I'm gonna give you a choice on this, or it's not going to knock him out immediately, but it won't hurt you.
And not immediately.
All right. You bring the hammer down, and it cracks onto that helmet, and you see the helmet splinter, and he kind of goes, "Oi! What kind of weak swing is that? Come on, lad, do it harder." Here, let me help you. And he starts to like reach up and realizes his like hands are stuck. He's like, "Oi, get the wolf girl off me!" And then
Can Nigel get up? Because this guy did slap my boy, and there might be a little aggression about that.
Yeah, I'd say at this point you can definitely get up.
I mean, if Nigel wants it, Jack will let him use his hammer.
I was thinking of getting that giant axe, because I have no qualms about killing the guy, but whatever. Yeah, I'll take the hammer. Or mace, or whatever it is.
It's a mace, yeah.
Yeah.
You see him, he's like reaching for his helmet. He finally gets like one arm around the kind of like awkwardly past the ice wall, like trying to like maneuver it with this like heavy wooden armor. He kind of like slips the helmet off. He's like, "Oh, you're gonna need to hit it a little harder than that. It's kind of a thick skull I got here." And you see as he's like moving the helmet that there's this like almost potato in terms of like proportions, like face, except the skin is this dark green, and he's got very small ears and kind of small eyes, and the best the best association I can give you is like an uglier Shrek.
Yeah, so he's like an ogre or an orc.
Yeah, he looks more ogre than orc, and he kind of goes, "You're gonna have to hit harder. We got thick skulls. Try again, lad."
Wait.
I just like got the mace raised, like, but you're right, we should ask. Where is Adam? We didn't hear a thing from you. But where is he?
Listen, I'm gonna say this honestly, and I'm not trying to be, deceitful or nothing, but I literally cannot tell you, because if I do, the Winter Queen will know. She's got her ways. But if you knock me out, maybe somebody will have better information than me. If you don't knock me out, I'm gonna have to kill you. As nice as your little walls are, Missy, I can't keep sitting here all day.
Can you tell us where he isn't?
I can tell you he certainly isn't down here in the dungeons. That's
How about
all I
this?
know.
What's the very last place we should go here?
Oh, last place you want to be is in the Winter Queen's courtroom. But that's, good luck getting in there.
Where's the last place she'd want us to go, though?
Ain't nowhere the Winter Queen cares about in terms of, intruders. You see her, well, you're already a dead man walking.
Fair enough. Anyone else?
I was just looking like, can I just kill him?
I'm sorry, son?
Listen, are you gonna hit me or not? Because if we're not doing this, like, I'm not here for an interrogation. Like, can we just fucking fight? Like, this is, you know.
Manuel's just like everyone else. He goes, "Screw it! He hit my kid," and he's just gonna golf swing this thing into the side of his face.
Okay, roll kick some ass.
I really hope this actually lands for once. That'd be amazing. That would be an 8.
Okay. So with a mixed success, you golf swing this hammer into his head, and you see as it, like, doesn't do as much damage as you think it should, but it does do a good crunch. And more importantly, the stun ability of this is able to make contact with his skin. So you see that electricity kind of, like, race down, and you hear as, like, he goes... but in doing so, you jar your arm very hard, and that electricity almost runs up the handle and into your hand, and your hand kind of goes numb. You're gonna have a -1 on your kick some ass, on your next roll for kick some ass.
Ow! I'm just gonna, like, nearly drop the mace and just hand it back to Jack. Like, how do you handle that thing? Damn.
Well, you have to do it very carefully.
Apparently. And that's gonna go pick up Gary and be like, "You okay, buddy?" And just gonna, cradle him and make sure he's okay. No. It's okay, buddy. Jack, I may need some help with the Healy doodad over here.
Yeah, I'll focus on Elle first. She kind of... thing happened with her neck.
Yeah, you see blood kind of gushing down the back of her fur.
Elle will get off him, but she looks like she's really tempted to bite the shit out of his neck.
Violet's just gonna kind of sigh and go over to the 3 Seelie that are kind of up against a wall.
Yeah, you see them kind of all not huddled. They're trying to look more dignified than that now that the ogre guard seems to have been knocked out, but they still don't look super excited to see you. They look more cautious than anything, and they kind of like look between you, Violet, and the rest of the group and the werewolf, and kind of go, you were sent by the Summer Queen, right? Generally she doesn't employ humans. Who are you?
We're working with the BPI currently from our realm.
Oh, yes, the ones that Robin works with. I see.
Are you all okay? Are you fit to travel?
Yeah, more or less. The beds are quite uncomfortable, and they've been feeding us essentially gruel for the last however long we've been down here. It's hard to tell in the dark and the cold, but we should be all right. Generally, the Winter Queen doesn't kill her political prisoners unless she's given a reason to, so we were just kind of being held in limbo. Not particularly fun, but not dangerous. At first.
Is it just you guys, or is there anyone else?
Of the group that was taken during the ambush, just us, aside from the human. Or whatever
Adam.
he is. Yes, that thing.
I mean, if he's her son, half.
I have no idea what that even means, if that's what he said. To be honest, I barely knew him. It was our first time over in the human world. Robin was bringing us for a good time after he had his meeting, and, things went badly.
Yeah, that's kind of obvious.
Either way, we need to get you guys out, and we need to find him. If there's anything about this place you guys know that might help us out, we'd really appreciate it.
We don't know much, and one of the courtiers behind him kind of speaks up, and she goes, the Winter Court is, well, generally we don't come here, unless, of course, you've been forced here, or, well, occasionally for the solstice celebration. That's the only time that there's actually a treaty, but, we've never been, unfortunately, so I don't think there's much we can tell you. And the other one goes, yes, she's right, this is probably, well, really our first time ever being here.
Well, we got two options. We can either try and get them out right now, or we can leave them somewhere safe and come back for them.
How did you get in here in the first place? The one in the back speaks up. If you can show us the way out, I'm certain we can get back on our own. Generally, it's just getting out that's the problem.
Yeah.
Well, it was pretty simple getting in so far. Like,
Not sure we can go back the way we came, though.
Yeah, with the screaming thing and the dog.
Oh, the Banshee. Yes, she's quite unpleasant.
Yeah, I don't know where she is out in those hallways, but we went through some kind of storage room and past some like wine casks and bottles, and well, past those, we go up the stairs. There's a little courtyard. There's a secret way out through there. Other than that,
Watch out for the dog.
yeah, and there's also a dog guard in the courtyard. Down the hill from there, there's going to be two boats tied up. We use them to get here.
Yeah. Don't, row off with them, though.
I mean, I don't know how we're supposed to get across the lake if we don't row off with the boat. Do you expect us to swim?
Well, not both of them. I mean, we need our way out too.
Well, we'll do what we can. To be honest, can we have this conversation in the hallway? I don't particularly fancy the idea of them coming and finding us and just closing the door. They very well might.
All right, sounds good.
And
Wait, what?
You see the three of them kind of just start to nervously move towards the door and edge their way around the unconscious ogre.
I have no idea what's going on. My audio cut out.
They want to talk in the hallway instead of being in the room where we could be potentially locked in again.
Oh, okay, yeah.
As we pass by that big axe, is there any way, how big is this thing?
It's huge. This thing is massive.
Would it fit in Raven's coat?
I was thinking, would Werewolf L be able to wield this thing?
I'm gonna say she could, but it would require an excessive amount of force to wield it. She could carry it, but to wield it's gonna be really difficult. We're talking a -2 on any attempts to use it.
I had to
I don't
ask.
think she could, anyways. Because I mean, Elle doesn't use axes that much,
Yeah.
and
But it's so
she's more of a
big.
one-handed person for the most part. And with werewolf claws, that probably wouldn't be the best grip.
Yeah. I'm just thinking werewolf increased size, big axe could work, but oh well, whatever. I had to ask. Alright, is there anything can I take a quick look around to see if there's anything else worthwhile in this room before we head out?
Sure. Go ahead and roll investigate a mystery.
Also, while he's doing that, Elle's grabbing her stuff and ducking off somewhere to the side to transform back.
Okay.
That is 10.
Okay. With a 10, you get 2. So what are you asking?
I would like to say what is being concealed here, and I'm just looking for anything that might be like any kind of notes, so like if there's like a desk or something in here or a shelf where there's information stored, just something that we might find of use for navigating this place.
Okay. Inside this room, I will say that with a 10, this isn't me like trying to be sneaky. It is very much a jail cell. Like, this is barely furnished, slightly better than, you know, your average prison room, but
No keys.
no keys, no shelves, nothing where people could hide things like weapons or anything. They very much made this so that they are kept here, and this is where they are kept safely, but not with any real potential to do any damage or try to make any kind of plans.
All right. I don't really have anything else that would work for that. Can I just check the ogre guard and just see if he has any keys on him?
Yeah, I will say that you can include that as like a second version, you know, what is being concealed here 2.0. You look through the guard's wooden armor, and at one point you find a pouch kind of tied to the side on a belt, and it has a set of steel, well, no, not steel, I keep saying steel, a set of kind of that strange metal keys, like keys that look like they're probably for some of the doors down here in the dungeon,
Like jailer keys. Okay.
like jailer keys. Yes, and
All
there's a fair amount of them, but not so many that like it's, you know, impossible to figure out that, oh, this one probably goes to this door.
All right. Once we're actually leaving that room, I want to check a few of the keys and see if I can lock the door that we're leaving to keep him in here if he wakes up.
Okay. Yeah, I will say that you don't really have to roll anything for that. It takes a couple of tries, but you eventually find the key that seems to be the one for this door, and you are able to lock it behind you.
Yeah, once Ella's back from doing her stuff, I want to try to roll medic on her.
Okay, go ahead.
That's cool, right?
Is it? What's your playbook say?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, what did you get?
Surprisingly, I rolled low, but with the +2, it's a 7.
Okay. So what's the mixed result on that again? Is it like just you heal 1 harm?
Yeah, for a medic, it's on 7 and 9, choose one, heal 2 harm, or stabilize the injury. So I'm just gonna heal 2 harm.
Okay. Elle, you are healed of 2 harm.
Sweet.
All right, the 5 of you kind of exit. You see Raven as she skirts around this ogre, looking decidedly unhappy about this entire situation and avoiding the gaze of the fae that you've just rescued. And you get outside into this hallway and close the door and lock it behind you. And as soon as they're outside of that room, the fae that you had rescued kind of all visibly relax just a little bit. Not like completely, but they just look like they're not quite so tense now that they're not stuck in a place where they could be locked in, essentially. And they kind of like look at you and say, okay, we just want to get out. If you could show us the way, once we find it, we'll do our best to get out on our own. Just lead us there, and we'll be fine.
All right, I'm just not sure if that banshee's still wandering the halls.
Probably. I mean, that dog is probably going to be easier to deal with than the banshee, so if we can get past that, all you need to do is go up a staircase, out a door into the courtyard, and then find the secret door hidden in the wall. That'll lead you down to the 2 boats that we have moored on the lake.
And the three of them kind of look at each other, and the one who hadn't spoken yet kind of looks at you, and they kind of go, I think we can deal with the dog. As long as we're clear of the dungeon itself, I don't think the dog will be that much of an issue. But the banshee is a concern.
Yeah, I think we'll have to go up with them anyways if we're going to try to find Adam.
Yeah, so we can at least get them to the intersection and head them off down the right corridor. Also, Jack, could you take a look at Gary? He took a bad hit there.
I mean, I can try. I don't really know what I can do for Rock.
I mean, he's got
Got
flesh when
magic
he's-
healing.
Yeah. I mean, technically, yeah, she's kind of magically healed before, I guess, so go for it.
Sure. I'll try to heal one time magically.
Okay, go ahead and roll for it.
10.
You heal one harm, and Gary kind of looks disgruntled for a second, but, you know, as soon as your kind of warm healing hands touch the side of him, he, you know, tenses up for a second and then kind of relaxes. And
Oh, that's my buddy.
yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna say that you guys don't have to like retrace. We're not gonna go like through the whole thing step by step, but in order to get past this banshee, what I want you all to do is essentially you make it back up to that hallway and you can still hear it moving around. So I want the 4 of you to roll act under pressure, and I'm gonna roll for Raven and for the elves.
Do I also have to roll for Gary?
Gary's in your hood, so I'll say no. But you
Okay.
do have to roll for yourself, and we're gonna do an average here. Ooh.
Alright, I did 11.
Okay.
I got a 10?
Okay.
9.
I also got a 10.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So Violet, Nigel, Jack, you had a success, right?
Mhm.
Elle had a mixed success. The elves had a success. Raven had a failure. So because the 4 successes outweigh the mixed success and the failure, you guys are able to, for a moment, like Raven starts to stumble in this dark, kind of looking around and not really quite sure what to keep her eye on in terms of like the Fae or the Banshee or, you know, the ogre that is, behind what she considers a flimsy wooden door compared to its giant girth and strength. But Elle, you managed to catch her by the elbow and straighten her up before she can make any noise. And the 5 of you and the elves managed to glide past this hall where the Banshee is down, back towards the cellar door, essentially, and move past it towards where the Banshee originally came out of. And you move up the staircase towards what looks like light, and you come up onto a landing that actually has a window, and that's where that natural light is coming from. And then you turn and go 180 degrees back up to the second part, which brings you to another opening. And this opening is a door similar to the kind that you came in the first place, and you open it and you realize that this is that third door in the courtyard. It just happens to twist, and apparently that third door went straight to the dungeons where the other one went to the cellar. And you all are back in the courtyard. You can see, I will say, going off of that stealthy success, you get into the courtyard silently, and you can see that the dog is currently curled up under that cart that you pushed in front of its hole. It seems to be sleeping. And the Fae all kind of turn to you and kind of whisper and go, all right, where's the secret door?
Nigel,
I'll show you.
yeah.
All right.
Nigel's going to keep an eye on that dog in case it starts moving again.
Are you pointing it out to them, or are you like taking them to it? What are you doing, Jack?
I'm taking them to it.
Okay, so if you're taking them to it, I want you to roll act under pressure to move across this courtyard without alerting the dog.
That's a with the +2. That's another 10.
Okay. You manage to move smoothly. Wow, I roll really well for this group of elves.
They
You managed-
really want to get out of there.
They do. You manage to move smoothly through this like kind of covered hallway that borders the courtyard towards that hidden door, and they follow almost so silently that you think that they're not, but you kind of like tilt your head a little to the side and you see them behind you, and you get it up to the door and show them where it is, and they start to like kind of nod at you, and you know, one of them looks at you and they go, thank you. If you make it back to the summer court, we'll do our best to thank you truly as much as we can in person.
All right, just leave one boat, please.
Yeah, of course. And they go through the door and it shuts behind them. And you manage to sneak your way back to your friends who are standing in that, door to the dungeon.
All right, so I guess we go through the other door.
Yeah, I think this was the door that had stairs leading upwards. And if Adam is the son of the queen, that means he probably has a royal bedchamber in the upper levels.
Well, that's the last place I wanted to go. Okay.
I mean, hey, at least we can get an apple.
If we can get to the courtyard.
Hopefully. Because we need favors.
We need Adam and that unicorn horn repaired.
Both are equally important.
Well, if it's a courtyard, it's got to be open air, right? What if we send Gary and Fafnir? They're small, they can fly. They might be able to sneak close enough to grab it.
But these are big people.
Yeah. I don't like the idea of sending them off on their own.
I mean, I can go with them, leave Fafnir here with you guys. Probably be able to communicate still.
Well,
Raven kind of just looks at you like, if you leave the range of my telepathy, no, but as long as you're within range, we should be able to talk to each other.
I mean, I can use Fafnir as like a walkie-talkie with you guys.
Sneaking around, it would be easier to move in smaller groups.
I don't like
However,
the idea of...
if one of
big-
those smaller groups gets into trouble, there's no way we'll be able to fight our way out of it.
Yeah.
Well, let's stick together for now. If we see that courtyard, maybe it won't be as bad getting the apple. Aside from that,
Yeah.
let's try and get as high as we can. Hell, if Adam knows this place, he might be able to help us with one on the way out.
He might. I don't know.
Alright, let's get a move on. And Violet will head to the door that had the staircase going up.
Okay. So my question for you guys in the group is, do you want to continue? We could probably go for another hour. Or do you want to call it here because it seems like a good stopping point before we kind of move on to the next section of approaching this castle?
As much as I'd love to continue, I do want to hope that Scully can join us again.
Yeah.
once their
Yeah,
emergency's taken
same.
care of.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna say with that, we'll call it for the night. Thank you guys so much for playing the game. First of all, I always love playing with you guys because it's fun. And thank you to the people who were here in chat, Mendex and Esh and Adonis and Claim who ducked in earlier for sticking around with us. And yeah, we're gonna call it a night. Before we go, though, let's do the usual rounds. Who are you? Where can we find you? Etc. Starting with DNC.
I'm DNC 510, Dink, whatever the hell you want to call me. I stream sometimes. I should stream more, but effort. Blame me for all the things. Everything was my fault.
Okay. What about you, Hellheim Hound?
Helheim Hound, 3H's, 3E's on also basically everything. I also sometimes streams. I think I did recently. Yeah. Yeah. That's about it. Also butts.
Butts. Mongoose.
Hoi, I am Mongoose Dog, Mongoose for short. You can usually find me lurking in Lady Kadashing's Discord along with the other channel's Discord. I also lurk in the other channel's Twitch channel on their streams and sometimes participate in those streams on the other channel.
Hey. And speaking of the other channel, Sandy.
hi, I'm Sandwolf. You can find me on twitch.tv/other channel. I do a variety of things. Lately, I've been playing Dragon Quest XI and also continuing the Breath of the Wild 3 hard mode 100% run, and I'm down to my last like 20 Koroks. I'm almost done with those little things so I can get to the better parts of the game.
Yes.
Out of the 900, like last week, I did a 11.5 hour stream catching 180 of the last 200. So suffice to say, I'm glad to be getting past those little things to get to the more interesting stuff.
Mm-hmm. All right. And
Also-
Scully. Oh, go on.
Oh, let's say we should also give a shout out for Scully because
Yeah.
yeah.
I was gonna say Scully is not here because they had a situation to deal with, but Scully usually plays Raven, and you can find them at Sculptus Gaming on Twitch and on Twitter, and yeah, you should go follow them. And I am Lady Kadashing. If you've never seen me before, I don't know how you're here. You can find me on Twitch-TV Lady Kadashing, whatever it is, and Twitter.com/Lady Kadashing. And follow
Oh wait, I
us
have
at
to do something in chat.
follow us at Shady Hollow. Shady Hollow Live on Twitter for when you want live notifications. So yeah, thank you guys so much. Have a good night, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.